NUFC Early Night News with Gary DeJordy Yum Yum, Andrew Bokey, Christina Cage, and Derek the Mighty Wind. Weekdays from 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. USA. NUFC Talk.
Welcome to NUFC Talk TV. That was season 25-26 done and dusted. And Houston, we have a problem. So we'll get into all of that, the Fulham game that just happened at the weekend and the whole season overall. But we are live on YouTube and the website nufcradio.com. So please give the video a like, keep the comments coming, and give us a super chat if you want to guarantee your comment being read out. And if you can, become a member for $4.99, where you'll gain access to exclusive content. So with me tonight is Borky and Christina. Win will be with us soon enough. How are you doing? So Christina, Borky, is good, first of all?
Good, mate. Yeah, yourself?
I'm good, I'm good. How are you doing with this heat? You enjoying it, or is it too much?
I'm a ginger. I've got a blocked up nose with bloody hay fever, and you know, if I go out in it, I go to about a factor red, beetroot red on the beetroot scale. So it's no good for the us gingers.
What about you, Tina? You good, Tina?
I am absolutely loving the weather. I was out in Gateshead yesterday, walking through the hills and everything, having a fantastic time, getting some sun. Finally, after 8 months of absolute misery, because we live in the northeast of England. Yeah, I'm very, very happy with the weather at the moment. Long may it continue.
Yeah, we're in the northeast, you know what I mean? Beggars can't be choosers, you know, for me. So I'm going to lap it up while I can, because you know what it'll be like soon enough. So yeah.
No.
It's not nice at night when you can't sleep, but we'll see what it's like tonight. But I am enjoying it, to be fair. Right, so I want to just get a few things off my chest in terms of how I feel right now about the Toon, and we'll bounce a few things off each other to see what we think of it all. So yeah, I mean, the first thing I would say, and that's kind of stuck with me since the Fulham game, and really for quite a while now, is the parallels between Sir Bobby Robson's last season. And I mean, before I go on, I will say I do think the reaction back then to Sir Bobby, it was a bit OTT. We did finish 5th, and I think there was a lack of kind of grace, if you like, in how we handled Robson's departure. So I'll say that first. But a lot of fans and a lot of the players had lost faith in Robson at that point. Freddie Shepherd, the chairman, stuck with him, but told him that we needed to recruit better, but told him that we wouldn't renew his contract. And afterwards, he said that no one wanted to shoot Bambi because of who he was and the gentleman that he was. And we went into the season with huge pressure hanging over us from previous seasons. And within 5 games after a poor start, he was sacked. And we then hire a new manager with a limited pool of managers to pick from. And we go into the season with a new manager that has no pre-season under his belt. And a bunch of players that he didn't fancy as well. So the whole thing was a mess. So that Fulham game, so there was nothing to play for. Okay, that's the first thing, you know, that you go into that game thinking, okay, there's nothing to play for, but let's see how these players turn up with that in mind, because that was a chance to show that the players are fully on board with a fresh start under Eddie, under this tweak that he's made with the formation that worked really well against West Ham. The fact that they came out and gave that pathetic performance, first half and second half, that tells me the opposite, that they're not really on board. I just think, you know, and I am repeating myself, but I just feel like I do need to say this again because it is the end of the season and we go into the summer with, you know, the future ahead of us and what the hell we're going to do. So I think things have went incredibly stale. I think the messaging is stale. I think the decisions are muddled from Eddie Howe, and I think he is looking a bit desperate. I think some of the players look fed up. Voltemada looked depressed when he was coming off, and I do take no pleasure in saying this, but I would have loved Eddie Howe to be our Ferguson, but the cycle to me has came to an end. And Eddie Howe has publicly said that he usually does not want to bring in six or more players in one window. So straight away, that tells me he's not fully on board with the rebuild that is needed. So I've got no faith that he would tweak his meticulous methods when it comes to betting in new players. I think with Hopkinson, it seems to me that he is a commercial man. So, like, he's doing some great deals with the training ground and stuff, but it seems like he relies on Ross Wilson to make these footballing decisions, or at least lean on his knowledge. But that whole setup seems like a mess to me because you need more than one football man in the boardroom. With that seemingly landing on Ross Wilson's lap, he's been around the block. He's been at Rangers. He's been at Nottingham Forest. So his footballing instincts should be reading the room and telling him that Eddie Howe's cycle has came to a natural end. And the whole thing is on a steep nosedive. So the pressure going into next season, to me, it makes the whole thing untenable in one sense. So I appreciate that they'll look at Eddie Howe's achievements and they'll admire them. And again, going back to the Bambi, Robson comparison, it's like he doesn't want to shoot Bambi in Eddie Howe. He doesn't want to be that man, maybe. Or maybe he's naive to the momentum and how important momentum is in football. So I just feel like we have a problem. We need to make a tough call. And, this is probably, some would say kind of pointless because some would say the decision's been made already. But I'm echoing what a lot of people are saying, and I do hope that maybe they'll do a U-turn. And I appreciate they might not, but I'll stop my diatribe there. Borky, how do you feel about it all?
Tim, I understand exactly what you've said there. At the end of this season, the whole season's been, we haven't had time to develop this team. We haven't had time. Eddie Howe hasn't had time on the pitch to be able to do things with players and things like that. The last 8 weeks, he's had that team completely. He's been able to do whatever he had to do with that team, and how we're really improved. You look at the games, we've won a couple, which is probably expected, but have we done well in them games? Have we really improved? Has anybody ever really seen a lot of development? We've seen a change of formation, which has been great, which is what we've all been asking for. But has he picked the best team he could, or has he picked the best team for the future? I just think there's such a disappointment there with what he could have done at the end of this season, especially that game at the end. Why the hell didn't we have Saha in at right back? Why didn't Neve start the game? Why didn't Park get a chance? Why isn't he playing the youngsters? This is the big issue with Howe. And I see next season coming along. I see, I don't see any change that's been made that's put confidence in us. And you look at this, we finished 12th this season. We finished 12th in the league after finishing 5th last season. Is that good enough? Would any other manager get away with that? Would any other manager get away with finishing below the local rivals who they've lost against twice in the league? It's been such a disappointing season and such a sad show of football matches. If you're seeing things develop as a club, you love it. You can put up with like a bad season if things are moving forward. If we're trying new young players and but we haven't done that. We're both Premier League players in, and I don't think any of them have been a particular success. That's the big sad point. So for me, I don't see where we'll go from here under Eddie Howe. As you say, we're going into a season where he has to hit the road running straight away. Otherwise, he's in so much trouble. If he goes into this like he has the last few seasons where we don't win the first few games, he's absolutely knackered.
Yeah,
It's sad as well. because you don't want his legacy to be lost from winning with the cup.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll come to you in a second, Christina, but just to say on that as well, I think if you sit here and if you can't say with reasonable confidence that Eddie Howe will see out next season, regardless how it goes, that's not sitting here because you can't guarantee a good season, obviously. So I'm not saying that, but if you can't say that, there'll be bumps in the roads, we might finish whatever, like top half or top 8, and it might not work out that well, but you can say that he'll be there until the end. If you can't say that, you already have the answer. You already know, in my opinion. Yeah, Christina. I know this is very depressing, so come on, cheer us up.
Sorry, I had you muted. Will you speak? No, I'm joking. Just trying to lift the mood a little bit because I've got a bit of doom and gloom going on. Look, I totally get where you're coming from. I absolutely do. I'll unload my thoughts about the last few games and specifically the Fulham game there and what I see going forward. So let's not forget this season we played about 450 games, give or take, and to be honest, except for that Fulham game, I actually did think that we were starting to play a lot better. Once we'd had the ups and downs of the cup competitions, I think that those last few games we really started to play much better. We were still missing. You could still see where we were missing a couple of things, like in regards to like creative options and things like that. But we were definitely playing like the better football in the games that we were playing until we got to the Fulham game, and I think we were drab. It was one of the worst performances I've seen from us recently, and I'd imagine that's mostly due to the fact, and this is the thing that I don't get though, because people were saying that the season was over, but Sunderland have qualified for Europe. We could have finished above Sunderland at the weekend, so technically the season wasn't over. So that one's got me a little bit confused. I don't know if the weekend was just some sort of training type thing. We seemed to change formation about 5 or 6 times. We definitely started with Malik Chow at right back. Then we ended up with 3 centre backs and 2 wing backs. Then we ended up with Hall on the right for a little while. Like it just seemed to be all over the place. I didn't really understand what the purpose of what any of the formation was. I think we also saw on Sunday what Sandro Tonali gives to the team, because without him we've just got no midfield whatsoever. So I would say if anything it's ramped up the interest in keeping him very much tied down to a contract. And as far as Eddie Howe is concerned, like, look, this season's not been good. The last 2 seasons have not been great in regards to the start of the season. Obviously last year we turned that around quite dramatically and quite spectacularly. I think the thing is that the honeymoon period's over now. He came into this season with a lot of grace, even though we'd had a terrible summer. And I think those 2 things kind of clashed together quite badly. The season before that, again, we were kind of riding high. We had, it was definitely building blocks. We had a plan over, I can't think of the word because there's noise going off my ass. But, I think this season, it's kind of like put up or shut up, if you want. I think Eddie Howe is going to have to succeed just because of the pressure that's on there, and I still believe that the owners want this to be like an elite club. So I think Eddie Howe potentially is going to have to accept that there's going to be probably at least 6 players, I would think, if rumours about who's leaving are to be believed, and to just improve the squad in general. So I would imagine he's not going to have a lot of choice in that, and hopefully he can get that right, bed them in. We start next season in a much better frame than we did do this season. And then, it's going to come down to what he actually does with the team at the start of next season. And I would imagine there is just that slight thing of, if he doesn't start the season well, then they'll sack him. But
guys, we've got a little bit of back. I think it's coming through in the... Sorry, Tina.
The case, they might decide to give him it.
We seem to have a bit of an issue with background noise coming through in the chat, like a bit of a rain.
Okay.
Don't know if we
That
can.
might be because I think I've got microphone issues. I'll go out and come back in and try and fix this. Okay.
No, but that. Cheers. Sorry, Tina. What were you saying? I interrupted
Well,
you
I'll
there.
tell you what I'm saying. Hey, if I was
No,
happy
no, that.
before
Oh,
before the start of the show, listening to that start of the show, I think I'm going to slip my wrists.
Well, come on, then, Win. Give with your positive view on this season.
There's
Tell
not
me
a
what's been
there's not a
great.
positive there's
What's
not a
been great?
positive
What's
view on
been
this season.
brilliant?
But
Well,
to
come
have,
on. You've
but
got
to
to
ha-
do. You've got to do
to
it.
have the attitude that it's automatically going to be the same next season when we've got plenty of time to put it right. Dardy. I'm not. Well, am I saying it definitely will? No, I'm not. But for you to be going into the season almost with the expectation that it's going to be another bad season, what sort of attitude's that?
So come on, then, Win. What you see in this season that's give you the positivity that you've come on this show with tonight? What
Not a
games
lot,
give you
not
that
a lot.
thing?
But I haven't got the
No,
negativity
no.
that you've got.
What if Eddie Howe's tactics? If you thought, that guy's going to get us going forward.
Well, I tell you
You
what
know,
I've seen in his tactics. I've seen him take the lead, which is the hardest thing to do in a football match, on umpteen occasions and not being able to hold on to a lead. That's what I've seen.
Oh, so that's a big positive. Come on, then. What's your other positive?
Yeah,
You
that,
can't
well, that
hold
is
on
a
to
big
lead.
positive. Being able to take the lead in a football match is a massive positive, because
But not being able to hold on to it.
in theory, it should be easier to hang on to a lead than it is to take the lead. So that's about the only positive thing that I can take from this season. The fact that we've been in positions to finish, I mean, not just in Europe, but, challenging the top almost, if we hadn't dropped all those points.
You've come in here saying that you're positive, that we're negative. So where you big, apart from the fact that we've took a lead, then lost it.
Well, I don't
which is
know.
a negative, really.
But let's see what happens in the transfer window. Let's see where we go before we have this total, negativity.
Let's see what happened.
breakdown.
Let's see what happened. Tina, what happened in the other transfer window? How much did we spend, and how many of those
We
players
didn't
would
have a
you put into this
DOF.
team?
We didn't have a CAO.
No,
we didn't get any first choices. We didn't know that Isaac was going.
Let other people have a say. What you
no,
we
it's
all-
okay. You can go on it.
No,
I mean,
we thought the other transfer window was good. Do you think now, Tina, looking back at those signings, how many of them would you actually have said have been a good signing?
I mean, I would have still, under the circumstances, signed 3 of them. So 3 out of 5, I can probably say are good. Maybe not as good as we would have liked. Definitely not considering we lost Isak. Some would say the Ramsdale one was a bit of a waste of time. But we've got a new goalkeeper kind of eyed up already. If we bring in the right midfield players to bolster the midfield, there's building blocks there that we can move on. I mean, Jacob Ramsey, Malik Chow, and Nick Waldemara, definitely players that we can hope to see improve next season. Alanga and Wessa can't be any worse next season than they were this season.
Correct. Cannot possibly get any worse.
It's got to be
the only way is up.
Exactly.
Baby.
I mean, Alanga can't get the he can't have much of a more unsure season next season than he has. And I mean, look, I get both sides here. Like, I understand where wins come from. You can't start the season with the doom and gloom. We've got to be positive for next season. I'm sure this summer there's going to be plenty of reasons to be positive. We'll see some signings that we love.
Reasons
like
to be cheerful.
There's going to be loads of reasons to be happy. And, starting next season, if it all falls apart and we end up with a different manager, then so be it. It'll happen. But I do get the point of there's not much point us just sitting here just waiting to be trounced next season.
But
yeah, and
I completely understand what you've said there, Tina, and I get you completely. But we'll win what you see in this season that you've come on here this positive. I want to be like this. I want to be, what you actually seen that makes you feel like that's going to be the case next season. What you see in this season, what you seen out of Eddie Howe that makes you think he's going to be the guy to get with it.
I've seen his body of work. I've seen what he's done in the past.
No,
I've
what
seen
you're
what
seeing
he's
this
done
season.
for
No,
us.
you're going off the
This-
subject.
I'm
What you're
not
seeing
going
this
off the
season.
subject at all.
Yeah,
I'm
what you're seeing this
I'm
season.
staying slap bang on the subject. I've seen how good Eddie Howe can be. And if you say you haven't, then you're talking nonsense. Was he good last season? Was he, you know what? But that's
Exactly.
not.
You've answered the question. That's fine.
So last season, he had a bad season. There you go. Get over it.
Can you hear us okay, by the way?
Yeah, loud
Yeah,
and
your
clear.
mail's better there, Tim, mate.
Great. Cheers. Yeah, no, I'm sorry to depress you in. I know it's, yeah, you're logging on there, and yeah, you're probably happy as Larry, and you hear my dour diatribe, and you're as low as a snake's belly, so I do apologise, but
No,
I am
no.
literally
Listen, it's
I know, but I am. It's authentically how I feel right now on the back of that,
Correct.
and no doubt the season or the summer might continue, and the season's on the horizon. And fingers crossed, I'm enthusiastic, and we are supporters. We want to be that enthusiastic. We want to support the club and the team, and that should be the case come kick off next season. But I'm sitting here, and I am just like at my wit's end in a way, because I feel like I'm watching a slow motion car crash, and I've been here before 22 years ago. We've all been here, and I feel like history is very much repeating, and it is so frustrating that we have this ownership who seemingly or say that they are ambitious and want to be number one, etc. And they are just sleepwalking into this to me. And look, I understand exactly what you're saying, Win, about Eddie Howe. And anybody who's watched this for long enough will know that I've got massive respect for him. So, like I say, I don't take any pleasure in saying that I think we need a new manager. And I've said for a long time that, you look at his body of work, and he has got clear qualities, and you want him to go back to what he produced in the first few seasons, and that has to be respected, and I always will respect that, because it was amazing achievements. It speaks for itself. You look at it on paper, fourth, fifth, in seventh was respectable, and obviously a cup win as well, better than Robson
and
did, better than Keegan did.
with the injuries we had that season as well, and
Yeah.
Can I just say as well, I've never came on this channel and called out Eddie Howe. I've never ever called him out as a bloke or as a manager. I think he's a great manager, but he's a manager that'll get you to a point. He's a manager that'll get you to a certain level. Well, yeah, Champions League, he got World Cup, but he's not the manager to take you. But he's not the manager to take you on to the next level. That's the problem.
Right.
And,
So you're expecting.
but hang on. No,
let
let us finish. I'm not calling him out for that. That's not his fault. That's nobody's fault. It's just he's not the right guy to take you on to the next level. So you need a better manager to take you on to the next level, and that happens in life. That's part of life.
And I agree. And if the board had sacked Eddie after the season we've had, there would have been no complaints from me at all. I think failure to get into Europe was a disgrace. I think, as you rightly said, that the two games against the Mackhams were absolutely disgraceful. Disgraceful. No other word for it. For them to be, they've basically done what we did. They've exceeded it, actually, because they didn't just avoid relegation, they got promotion. And then went on with a virtually brand new squad to do what they've done. And, I'm saying power to them. Obviously, I'm not happy with it, but that's life, boy. And I just think what to
When did you hear?
What's getting me is that you're going into next season now
On a negative.
with this totally, utterly negative outlook. And that's before you have a clue as to what's going to happen in the meantime.
Did you see their manager after the game with the mic in his hand talking to the fans? And he's obviously foreigners, but did you hear him talking to them?
Who?
Sunderland's manager.
No, did I? Hell, think I'm going to watch it?
Oh well, to be fair, I sit and watch football, so I sat and watched it, and he was building the fans up. He was, who thought at the start of the season we would get Europe? You know, give me a shout. Like, you know, he was proper, you know, into it. Could you ever see Eddie Howe doing something like that?
No.
Could you ever see Sunderland making it the last 16 of the Champions League and winning the Carabao Cup, though? I mean, there were levels to this game. And
Well, a bit
can
to
I
be
just
fair,
say,
they probably
though,
could.
I don't class Tim and Borky unloading their feelings about this season today as starting next season on a negative. I was just thinking about this while we were talking. This is the end of last season, so if there is a time to get all of this out of your system so that we don't go into the summer with it, this is the show for that. This is the day to get all of that out, to hash out exactly like Tim did at the start, get out all of those concerns, and then through this summer, we're going to build up the positivity, and we'll go in the next season like 4 little Christinas. We'll all be there, ready for Newcastle to tear every team apart, 27-0. But, you know, right now I can understand people being a bit deflated. Like, it wasn't a fantastic season. And
It wasn't a fantastic season. It was a terrible season. There's no way you can argue any other than that it was a terrible season.
No, exactly. But that's exactly what I'm saying. I think it's fair for people
and if that's
to be...
what this show's about, let's do it.
Well, I mean, it was what the show...
Let us slaughter the season.
The thing is, though, we've got new floodlights coming next season, so silver linings and all that.
Well, yeah, we've got 5G coming.
Aye.
Hopefully where I sit, they'll say go into my eyes so I can't see the rubbish on the pitch that Eddie's putting out there. That could be the good thing about the new floodlights.
Yeah, there you are. That's obviously what it's going to be.
Well, the thing is, right, what you said, a few things, and what you said there, Win, about the pressure next season. I listened to the Chronicle podcast, and one of the lads summed it up, I think, really well, describing it as it's a powder keg of pressure waiting to explode.
Yep.
And you go into that next season with that, my word, like, it's like I said before, to me, that's kind of untenable in one sense, because you need to go into the season knowing that football is football. You're going to lose games here and there. You're going to have bad runs of form. And if that's not allowed next season, then what the hell are we doing going into it in that state? Got a super chat there.
There's the Bogey fan club straight in. Well, thank you.
Cheers, ads.
Bogey, at least you're doing sugarcoat steady, Eddie.
But that's exact. But to be fair, ads. Thank you very much for the super chat, mate, and thank you very much for supporting us through the season. You've been brilliant, mate. But in regards to that, that's proven what Tim's saying there, 100%. You know, how do you go into next season sugarcoating what's happened this season? You know, if he loses a couple of games at the start of the season, when, as you were saying, he's absolutely buggered. You know, there's no credit in the bank now. There's absolutely nothing there. There's nothing there to prove that.
If he gets full back in this window, the credit in the bank's gone.
But as you said,
he's used that all.
At the end of this season, we had the 7 games that he had time and passion to build a team. And what did we see?
Well, we saw an improvement.
Did we?
Oh.
Do you really think there was a massive improvement in that team?
Well, did I say massive?
No, but I'm saying, did you see?
Well, let me ask Christina.
He had the time that you'd asked. Did you see the massive improvement in that team?
I didn't say a massive improvement. I said there was definitely an improvement.
I don't
think
there was.
I think there was some improvements, but how do you square the West Ham game? And you know, I think there was improvements in other games as well. I think the Brighton game, you know, the positive was that he did go 4-4-2. The performance second half was the same old issues in terms of hanging on and giving away chances, but at least he actually went 4-4-2, which nobody would have thought he would have done for most of the season. But I thought the West Ham game was really good. But then how do you square that with the Fulham game? Before you answer that, Tina, got a comment there from ADS. Let's have a look. Saying that Borky has made me fall out of love with football. I never thought that would happen. So that's another side of the coin.
Whoa. He didn't say I'd made... No, he didn't say I'd made him. He says... Borky.
Oh, sorry.
Has made
Eddie Howe's made
it. Borky, hey.
Yeah.
I'm stitching up there, Borky. Sorry about that. Yeah, so Eddie Howe has made him fall out of love with football. Yeah, not the
Well
only one.
said,
Again,
Ants, mate. Well said.
yeah, and honestly, like I say, Eddie Howe, I will always respect him. I honestly wanted him to be our Ferguson. Uh, he's been brilliant, genuinely speaking. And just before I come to you, Christina, your point, Borky, about the Sunderland manager, you know, with the way Eddie Howe is, generally speaking, I don't mind that because you've got the likes of Ange, Postecoglou, even Arteta, even though obviously he's doing really well, but purely on a character level, I'm not really bothered about having a manager having all this pantomime going on. I like to have a manager who has that dignity, who conducts himself in a gentleman way, if you like. But to me, it's not doing a 180. It's just now and again, just very much here and there. I think you could do with giving a few stern words publicly. And like you say, to the crowd, I've mentioned the Carabao game. There's a massive banner with Eddie Howe before the game. See that banner, go out and just give it a bit of that, like, well done, lads and lasses. I love it. I'm on board with that. Just very subtly. But I think you could do a bit more of that. But like I say, I don't want to come on too hard down on him because I do prefer a manager who doesn't get involved in all the silliness because more and more these days I think
But
managers do and it's annoying. But
before you go
Christina,
to Christina, just
yeah,
quickly, you want someone who comes on like Win the night. Win was passionate when he came on. You know that's the point I'm making. You want a bit of passion in you. You want somebody who's got the love of Newcastle in the heart. And I mean, Win's love is misplaced, but at least he's got it. You know, and that's what I want to see from your manager.
mm, mm,
We have seen that from managers, so that's kind of the thing that I think we've got to remember. We've had talkers, we had Steve Bruce, we had Sam Allardyce, we had, you want to talk about passion. Bobby Robson used to tear up every time that he was talking about us when he was talking to the press. We had Kevin Keegan. We've had managers who bring absolute passion, and not one of them won us a trophy. Whereas Eddie Howe did deliver with that, and I think we've got to kind of, he might not be everybody's cup of tea, but if he continues to deliver results, that's what we've got to look at. And this season's the first season that he hasn't delivered results. And my gosh, have people turned on him fast. that floodgate came down like an absolute ton of bricks.
Well, Tina, to be fair, I don't think it did. It was a slow, gradual turn that eventually sort of did turn. But I mean,
it was less than 6 months after we won a cup, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Tell that to the 300,000 who were in the tune.
I will bring them on.
Heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that we've got to this point where we are calling him out, where we are having to, say that he's not the right guy. He's done the best. He's done the best job ever for Newcastle United in regards to getting us a cup in my lifetime. But do you guys really see him as the guy that'll take us forward after this season?
But it's a weird question though, because who can you see taking us forward? Like this is the thing. Okay, so we start next season. We've got no credit in the bank. We're not coming off the back of a cup. We're not coming off the back of Europe. So whoever we've got needs to perform. People say, "Oh, the pressure's on Eddie now. He's got to perform." Hey, if we brought in Iriola and we were rock bottom of the Premier League after 10 games, I'm not sure we would stick with him for too much longer either. I don't.
Bring back Eddie.
Well, exactly, and I don't think it's going to be.
That's the other thing, because as I say, I my patience threshold is bigger than most, because I was one of the ones who turned not very quickly, but who turned on Sir Bobby and definitely wanted him out before the season was finished. And then obviously with a bad start he had to the next season, that was compounded, and that was exactly what happened then, because I was against the tide. I was the Jefferson, if you like, of Sir Bobby, and in that I had sort of made up my mind earlier than most people that he couldn't, that he'd lost the plot kind of thing. So I was the bogey of my generation, and then we all know what happened when he went. So that was like a lesson in life. Be careful what you wish for.
But can we be careful with this as well? Because sometimes it goes right if you get rid of a manager. You know, we talk about it going wrong, and it has for Newcastle United over the years. Getting rid of Robson was the right. I hate to say this, but getting rid of Robson was the right decision when it was made. He had lost the dressing room. He had lost the team. The problem was we didn't get the right manager in to replace him. So you know,
Well, I think
there's a lot more. There's a hell of a lot more examples of clubs doing worse after they change their manager than clubs doing better.
But the problem is that you can do better when you change your manager. So
occasionally,
you know, well, not occasionally, a lot.
Yes, occasionally.
But you know, but
tell me when. You give me examples.
Well, this season, Carrick took over Man United when we were 2 points behind them.
Correct.
How many points did we end up behind them at the end of the season?
There's one. I'll give you Carrick.
Right. So you know there is chances to get better, and I think that's the thing that we need to.
Right. I'll take your Carrick and I'll raise you Spurs through 3 or 4 managers. West Ham through 3 or 4 managers.
I'm not
through 6 managers before they got to Carrick.
I'm not sitting here saying that you can get the right manager.
What I'm saying is the chances are there's a bigger chance that you'll get worse than there is that you'll get better.
There's not. But if you're the right club...
But there is. Historically, statistically.
Are you going to let us finish? There's a chance if you've got the right club with the right people in place who can choose the next manager, you choose the best manager you can, and that manager does develop the club. So change shouldn't be seen as a scary thing, but it should be. Let's finish my point. It should be seen as something that can happen and works out well. So you know, sometimes yes, it goes wrong, as anything it does in life. But sometimes you make the change and it goes right, and that's where we're at this point. We need to make the change.
Yeah, well, the point I would make as well is, how can the new manager succeed? What can you give him so that he has the best chance possible of succeeding? And one of the answers to that is pre-season. So the season start. I mean, with Sir Bobby, that the issue I think was the fact that it was 5 games into the season. I think once we stuck with him, I think we should have just let him see out the season. It was the summer that was the problem, and like you say, I think he had lost the dressing room, and things were a bit of a mess. And I think, you know, the fans, like I say, I mean, I appreciate when, you know, obviously you've been through it, and there was a lot of anger, if you like, and a lot of fans unhappy because we didn't get Champions League and there was poor performances at the end with Marseille away and stuff like that. But I think purely looking at it on paper, I don't like the way it ended with Sir Bobby, but if you look at it on paper, he'd lost some of the players, and it changed at that point. I think it is arguably the right thing to do. And the new manager would have had pre-season then. So you go into you go into the following season with new ideas, a pre-season for the gaffer to bed his ideas in. Obviously, hopefully not soonest. Like you say, Bucky, you actually put the work in to hire somebody who is the most capable possible of getting. And as well, the chances of doing that are going to be less if you do it during the season. And I appreciate what you're saying, Christina, about Iraola, but whether it's him or anybody else, I do think, even if they started badly, you know, I do think that there would be more leeway with that manager, and it will be a case of, okay, there's a huge turnover of players. They do need to just have a bit of time to bed in, and Iraola started slowly at Bournemouth himself, so that's there on record. So you could point to that as well if it was him and say, look, he's got a record where he will turn it around. And he's in talks apparently with AC Milan now, so that's a great yeah.
So it's so Toon Army. He's nothing special. Everyone's in talks with AC Milan. And AC Milan's YouTube channel contacted me the other day and asked me if I would start taking over their YouTube channel. I said no, don't worry. I said I'm sticking with Newcastle.
Well, you could go both.
Hang on. If we flip this question, would anybody at this point, if you were out there and you looked at Eddie Howe and you looked at other managers out there, would if Newcastle's job was available, would anybody be big on going in just to get Eddie Howe, or would you be in to get another manager? So if he wasn't a manager now, but he's
wasn't
got
one
the
manager,
CV he's got,
he'd be well up the shortlist. If
You
he'd
reckon?
done what if he'd done what he'd done at Newcastle at another Premier League club, damn right he'd be at the top of the tree.
I think
I agree.
I think I just think there's better managers out there. I just think if you were going for the best manager out there, if he wasn't manager at this point, you would go for a different man. You wouldn't choose Eddie Howe as your first choice. Would he be top of the betting list for the manager to become Newcastle manager?
If he had done this with like a Crystal Palace or a Sunderland, or
No. If he
or
just
Leeds,
had the
absolutely.
Glasner,
if he just had the CV he had, would he be the top choice
Yeah,
for
but
Newcastle?
look at his CV now. He took a relegation team from
No, I'm saying
18.
that. No, I'm
and
saying
the answer is yes, he would.
With that CV, would he be the top choice
Yes.
manager?
Yes,
He
He'd
would.
definitely be in the
Aye.
shortlist.
So you wouldn't want Aston Villa as manager over the top of him, because
Well, that
that's
would-
realistic. You could do that.
That would depend. Well, but Aston Villa's manager turned us down. You know, it's
He
common
wouldn't- he
knowledge
wouldn't
was
now.
first choice.
But no, he wouldn't now.
But why would he
So,
not?
you know,
Why
is
would he not
win the
know?
European Cup?
Eh?
Why would he not know?
Because we would pay him a hell of a lot, and he would be taking over a club that potentially could do a hell of a lot with.
He's got Aston Villa.
Well, that was what he had when he was offered the job in the first place.
And to be fair, I'm not saying Eddie Howe's a bad bloke. I'm not saying Eddie Howe's not a great manager. He came in and saved us from relegation. I doubt anybody else would have done that season. But what I'm saying is,
I agree
if
with
you
you.
co- if you come in now and look for the best manager for Newcastle United, you guys can win. Christina, you love no matter who's Newcastle manager, I know that. But if you guys had a choice, you guys would say that Eddie Howe's the best manager we could have for Newcastle United next season.
I think Eddie Howe would be in the running and on the short list. I don't think he'd necessarily be at the top of the list, but he'd be on there. But the key thing and the key difference is momentum. And in football, like we've said a million times, that is massive. And Eddie Howe has a incredibly negative momentum attached to him right now. And you can't avoid that. So I understand, if he goes and then we start the season badly, it's like, you know what, get Eddie back sort of thing. But and Eddie Howe might go under the club, and I would expect him to do well. And you know what, maybe he will take another club to another level. I wouldn't rule it out, because I was thinking he could be an elite manager after he did what he did in the first few years. Maybe he might prove things elsewhere and learn from a sabbatical, like he did after he left Bournemouth. Maybe that would happen. But again, you come back to the present, you come back to now, momentum, trajectory. It is all heading one way. And that you can't, there's no magic formula for that. And there's now no more games to actually change that momentum. That Fulham game was it was a bit of an answer to me. I want those players to show me they are on board with an evolution from Eddie Howe in terms of this new tactic, in terms of Voltemada being in the team, and just the new energy that the players are ready for next season. And I know it's mitigating circumstances. I do have sympathy in that Eddie Howe's got a bunch of players there who maybe have got one eye on the World Cup, so I understand that as well. But if those players, or a lot of those players, were majorly bought in to this rebuild under Eddie Howe, I think they would look a lot different than what they looked like against Fulham. I mean, I'll come back to you, Tina, about the game itself and, squaring that with the West Ham game. What happened there? Because West Ham, I was slowly getting to the point that, you know what, maybe Eddie Howe was set to be the man for this turnover in the summer. And I've just kind of been shocked in a way. And it may be a type of ball, but that Fulham performance has kind of set me back in that way. So how do you square that Fulham performance with the West Ham one?
I mean, there's as I said, I mean that's one of the worst that I've seen us play for quite a while. Definitely since we exited the cup competitions. And the only real major difference was that we didn't have Sandro in the team, so it kind of, I don't know, because a lot of the players seem to be going in that game almost as if the season was over. But like I say, I mean, Sunderland made Europe, and if Sunderland had had a worse result than we had won, we could have been in Sunderland's position. So I don't really get how they went into that game thinking that the season was over. It is disappointing that, and I mean, I get what you're saying. So like, why aren't the players up for a game when you've given up the season? But I mean, there was a lot of teams, like, I mean, you know, Fulham were wasting like 5 minutes per goal kick. Like there was no urgency in that game whatsoever. It was a boring game of football, except for their second goal, which, you know, all respect to you, it was a fantastic goal.
Well, even the first one was a good goal. You know, the initial free kick.
Well, the free kick was amazing.
Terrible defending from the rebound. But
there wasn't much you could really do about that. I mean, it's bounced off the upright and it's been tucked straight away. I mean, there was no defenders near him, but
yeah, well, Bruno's getting the carrying the can for that one. Like,
and there'll always be somebody for people to blame.
Yeah, and that's it. Everybody needs a scapegoat. You're right.
But it's, you know, things were looking like they were going in the right direction. And here's the thing, like, look, I totally get it. I get that you just want better. Believe me, everyone in chat, I get it. I understand what you just want. I understand that you just want this club to, you know, relive a history that you're pretty convinced definitely happened, even though you can't find it in the history books at all as ever happening. But I get it. And I get it. When this takeover happened, the Cashley years were gone. We're going to stop being trod on. We're going to stop being embarrassed every year. And things were going to start happening. And we were trepidatious at first. We were like, look, we don't want a team that wins. We want a team that tries. And then Eddie Howe came in and we had some glorious
exactly
times.
That team that tries.
And I get it. I get it. This season's been dreadful. It's been dire. And you just want better. But the thing is, in football, you just don't get that guarantee just by replacing them. That team, give anybody that team, if they're going to play like that, what's the point? Say the Tottenham team. Tottenham's got a lot of top stars in it. Not many managers could have turned that around this season. Like, sometimes that's not the full answer. And I get it. Look, if Eddie Howe leaves tomorrow, we'll get a different manager. I'm not going to cry for Eddie Howe. I'll remember the time that he gave us. You know, but I've got no attachment to him, but what I am is a bit realistic. Like, he has given us some great years. There's no guarantee that a new manager would come in and do much better. PIF has said that we're keeping Eddie Howe. There ain't no point sitting here all the way until he gets sacked, whether that's 6 months from now or 27 months from now, thinking, oh, well, this is going to be boring because Eddie Howe's the manager. You've got to give people a chance to turn this around, and this is Eddie's chance. Like, fair enough, the World Cup's going on. That is what it is. But everyone's got the chance to change. Everyone turns themselves around. Are you the same person you were when you were at high school? No. Because one day you looked at yourself in the mirror and you were like, okay, I don't want to live like this anymore. I want to be this person. Eddie Howe could come back in the pre-season of this season with a bit more energy, a bit more fight, a bit more fire in his belly, and with a group of players who will have got rid of whoever it is that he's not getting along with, or will have hopefully brought in a bunch of people who he is getting along with it. And if he can then bring us back to where we were under him, I ain't got no problem with Eddie Howe being manager of this football club. I don't believe that he's reached his ceiling. However, if we get a new group of players that will get rid of all the deadwood, and then the next group of players come in and fall out with them, then you've got a clear indication, okay, maybe Eddie Howe does need to go. Because if he can't turn it around, if he's falling out with everyone, if his tactics aren't evolving at all, there's definitely argument on both sides. But at the minute, we do have to accept that Eddie Howe is the manager, and it looks like he's going to be the manager at the start of next season. And I get it, because that Fulham game was dreadful. And you look at the lack of passion, the lack of absolutely everything on that pitch. There was nothing in that game that made me think, okay, this is what I was worried about on the build-up to this game. I was like, you're saying that there's nothing to play for, but a good performance here takes us into the summer with people being a bit more optimistic. A dross performance, which unfortunately is what we got, takes us into the summer with this exact conversation, with everybody in chat being like, oh, I don't want Eddie Howe to be the manager, he's terrible. You know, this was always going to happen, but I mean, unless anything changes, he's going to be the manager in like a few months' time. You know, maybe it starts good, maybe it all falls apart, but I think it's at a point now where if it does start badly, we are going to then make a change. And again, that's got its risks because you're changing the manager much in the Bobby Robson sense. There's going to be less of a pool of managers there. But you could have brought in a new manager at the start of this, right now, and he could have failed as well. So it's an answer. We're never going to get the answer to what would have been the better because you can only ever have one. Life's not like a video game where you can just, we'll press rewind, we'll see what would have happened if I had chosen the other option. We are never going to find out if we get rid of Eddie Howe, whether Eddie Howe would have turned it around, or if we stick with Eddie Howe, if a different manager could have came in and done better for the start of next season.
But there's signs there that this isn't going to change. You know, what signs have you seen? Has anybody on the panel seen that this is going to change? That this is going to get better? You know, we're going into a new season. Everybody said at the end of last season, the big problem was Eddie Howe didn't have the time with the players on the pitch. He didn't have the time training players up. What's he had in the last 8 weeks? He's had 8 weeks of training with them players. Then we'll get the Fulham performance. And if you guys think the West Ham performance was good, if you guys think other performances in that sequence of runs that Wynne was calling the Magnificent Seven were good, then I think you're deluded, to be perfectly honest. I think in regards to that, we haven't seen an improvement in actual game management or in actual games. You know,
what was wrong with the West Ham performance?
Well, it wasn't great. We
based
won the
on
game.
What? Tell me what was wrong with that game. What performance?
Based on a team that was bottom of the league, you know, and we're struggling. You know, did we go out and smash? Did we go out and smash them? No. Did we go out and was that the best game you've ever seen?
We did smash them, Lee.
Yeah, we played them off the park.
Hang on, so you guys are sitting here saying that was the greatest game of football? What game of football?
It was the greatest game of
football. What game of
football?
Hang on. You're shouting us down. What game of football this season can you guys say that was a great game of football? Eddie Howe managed it well, and we went out and smashed that team.
Manchester United.
In the choir. Well, let me just come in here, right? The West Ham game, for me, that was a good performance, and I don't think there's anything at all deluded about that, because what I saw in that game was a change in terms of wingers coming inside and Voldemort playing in a 10 and actually playing through the middle and playing nice combination play. Yes, it was against West Ham, but then they are what they are. They got relegated, but you can only beat what's in front of you. So I don't think you can sit here and say that was a nothing performance. There were some positives.
No, Tim, to be fair, I didn't say a nothing performance. What I said was that a great performance? You're right in what you're saying. You're quite right. He changed the tactics and things worked. But was that a great performance, or was it just a average performance? It was a better performance against a poor team. You tell me a team that we've went out this season with that we've absolutely smashed. That's the point I'm making. We
haven't absolutely smashed anybody.
Exactly. That's the issue.
Just speak up.
You got a quote win, have you?
A quote?
You said a quote of the night before.
Oh yes, Tina. Yeah, loved it. Life is not a video game. You can't go rewind and try again if you get it wrong. Beautiful.
But yes, just to kind of like put a pin in this one though. Like, Borky, I get your frustration, but the fact is, none of it matters. You've not enjoyed the games this season. That is what it is. That's not going to change. Nothing anybody's going to say is going to change your mind on that. Have there been good performances? In my opinion, some of them, yes. Was there enough? No. You don't think that there was any good performances this season? That's fine. The fact is, though, you've got to look forward. If Eddie Howe is staying as Newcastle manager, there ain't no point us thinking, well, he didn't do this game well, he didn't do that game well, because it's not going to matter. He's going to start next season as the manager, unless something changes between now and then, which it might. There's a couple of months here where anything could change. If he's, he hasn't looked as, he's not looked himself, has he? He's looked kind of down in the dumps. There's rumours of him falling out with people left, right, and centre. Maybe before we start next season, things will change. Maybe there will be a different manager. But if it stays with him at the manager, looking back on him having this bad season isn't going to change that fact, and it's not going to make any difference moving forward. Like, yeah, you can acknowledge it and you can talk about it, and that's absolutely fine. But I feel like like trying to get that point across ends up becoming a mute point, because you could convince everybody in the world that Eddie Howe is the worst manager on the planet. It's not going to change who the manager of Newcastle United is until PIF decide to change who the manager of Newcastle United is.
Well, fair enough. You guys keep on sitting on here and clapping along to Eddie Howe. I've got no issue with that. I understand your stance point.
I'm
I
not
understand
clapping
where
along
you
with
guys.
Eddie Howe.
No, I'm saying, but people do. People come on here and clap along with Eddie Howe because they see him as some sort of god because he won World Cup, which was fantastic, absolutely brilliant. If you want to move on to the next level as Newcastle United, Eddie Howe's not the guy to do it. Is the proof's in the pudding. You
And the
name
next
me
level
once.
is,
You name me once this season in game man. Look, we all know Eddie Howe's faults, so he must know as well. He
Right.
must know his own
Cup-
faults. Yeah.
Jimmy Cuff, his
So
name, his
no,
name,
wait,
he's
wait,
named
wait,
seven
wait,
games.
win. Don't cut us off. You know, he comes in.
You said
What
name me
so-
one game. There's seven.
No, I'm saying, name me one time he's made a tactical substitution that's changed the game. Name me one time that he's rotated the team and it's worked well. Fair enough. Towards the end of the season, he tried changing formation.
Oh, so
And
you're
it
agreeing
kind-
that he did.
He kept. Well,
And
well,
that
I'm
it
giving
worked.
you. I'm giving you the honest points. I'm giving you honest points. You name me a time towards the end of the season, or when he's ever done that before.
There you go.
This
Man
guy
United
is
at
not the
home,
manager
Spurs
to
at
move
home,
Newcastle
Villa
United
away in the
manager.
cup, most games in the Champions League, Everton away, Spurs away. Nobody's saying the season was perfect, but also it wasn't all crap.
pick out the points you want in the chat win. You go through that and you pick out the ones that you want to read out because they're positive against Eddie. Read the rest of them.
No,
Read
that's,
the ones that are against him.
because you're saying that there was that there was nothing this season at all, absolutely nothing.
Well, there wasn't.
Certain.
Hang on.
Not
Where
for you,
where did
for
we
you,
finish?
perhaps, but for lots of other people,
Where
was.
did we finish? Where did we finish in the Premier League?
We know where we finished.
We know Sunderland got a European place. We didn't. If you're
Correct.
accepting that, you go for it.
Correct.
We finished 16th in the Champions League. Woohoo!
Woohoo! I'm not accepting it, but I'm not putting it all on Eddie Howe's
We're failed in
shoulders.
every other every cup competition. If you're
We're
willing
failed
to
in
sit and
every
accept
cup
this
competition.
season, go for it.
We failed in every cup competition. Is that
So
what you
are you
said?
saying that
100%.
So getting to
If
the
we're winning-
semi-final and getting beat by Man City is failure. Getting knocked out the Champions League by Barcelona is failure. Getting knocked out the FA Cup by Man City is failure.
Win. Really read that super chat, the one that's just come through. That's a brilliant one. And well done for the £5, mate. Thank you very much.
Go on,
Where's
Win.
he got? There he goes. Mark Miller paint stripper. No other serious club would row as a manager another season when he's lost 17 games, dropping 27 points from winning positions and blown £250 million. It's a joke.
Yeah, I agree. Borky, nobody's sitting here and saying that the season has been good or has been acceptable. You're asking if there's been good games here and there. Clearly, there has been some good games here and there. We smashed Everton, and the Man United game was really good. There's other ones as well that were mentioned, but that's not. It's like Tina said, it's a moot point in a way because to me, it's about trajectory. And
Can I just
where-
ask you about the Man United game? Was that a great game?
Yes.
Or was it a game
We played
that
really
was
well,
it a game?
No, it was
What was it a
fantastic.
game that was won by a great goal?
no, I
No,
thought we
it
played
was
well. I thought we
awesome.
were combative. I thought we were energetic. I thought we played some
Especially
really nice
with 10
stuff.
men.
Yeah, against the odds like that, I thought it was a good game. But again, it's not really. It is a bit of a moot point because you're asking before, which is more relevant in my opinion, about changes tactically and about rotation and stuff. And I thought, well, we did see changes tactically, and this is why the Fulham game is a kick in the backside because it's on the back of the West Ham game and the Brighton game and the Nottingham Forest game where he did tweak the tactics. Whatever you think of the performances, and I think the West Ham game was a good performance, there was an evolution of sorts there. So if you go to that Fulham game and you beat them 3-0 or something, and you carry on the same type of performance where you're playing some nice stuff through the middle, you got Voldemort in the game, there is a bit of hope there, but he reverts back to playing Murphy, dropping Barnes, playing Hall right back second half as well. And I think that's more relevant because that's the muddled thinking that Eddie Howe seems to have got himself into that then unfortunately tells me that he is stuck in a fuzz where he's not really the man to go forward because he's not evolving like I thought he potentially could. But no one's saying that the season has been brilliant with some blips here and there. Everyone knows that it's been unacceptable.
And we have all, me included, called Eddie out time and time again. He's not perfect. Nobody's saying he's perfect. But
Yeah,
So can we do better than Eddie Howe is the question then?
I'm
Can
not
we
sure
get a
we
better
can.
manager in than Eddie Howe? So you're saying we have to put up with this because you can't get anybody better?
No, it's about club size, though, isn't it? Like you've got to remember, like to attract. I mean, fair enough. Jose Mourinho might have been realistic because he's got ties to the club, but except for that, what is there to bring? Like, obviously there are more elite managers out there who could probably grab this team by the scruff of the neck and deliver something. Could they necessarily do that with the financial restrictions that are in? Could they build that team so where it would happen next season? I'm not so sure about that. But are there better on paper managers than Eddie Howe? Absolutely. Would they come to Newcastle? Question mark. Would they be able to build the team that they wanted? Question mark. I don't think anybody would say that Eddie Howe is the best manager in the world. I would love to hope that one day he's going to, and he's going to do that at Newcastle. But right now, I mean, he's not. I mean, he's just had like the worst season he's had since he became Newcastle manager. But it's not as simple as, oh, we don't accept that. Okay, you don't accept it. What are you going to do about it? There's nothing that we can do about it because
Sack him.
no, but you can't, and I can't, and Win can't, and Tim/Peter/DKX in the top corner can't. Like, sorry, dude, I had to put some sort of comedy in. None of us can do this. There's the people who are making that decision would have to be the ones to make that decision, and I'm sure that it can't just be a case of they're just sitting back there not doing anything.
Can I just bring a point up here? Potentially this summer, we're going to have to spend £200 million again. We're going to have to buy players in. We're going to have to bring players into this club.
Right.
I hear a lot in like sort of chats that I'm in, so that in Eddie we trust. Do you trust Eddie Howe to spend £200 million on players again?
It's not my money.
Well, that's a daft answer because it is your money. It is your money. You sit and wear Newcastle United tops. You sit and you go to matches. you love Newcastle, so it is your money. It is your money.
I get what you're saying, but it's not my place to put
Eddie
the
Howe?
trust,
But do you trust Eddie to go out and buy and spend that amount of money again?
So, but here's the thing, because it's a hard question to answer, because a lot of people, like yourself, I'm sure, would look at last season and be like, that was a terrible summer.
Hang on, it's not a hard question answer for me. No, I don't trust him.
Yeah, and that's
because I've seen what he bought in last season.
No, if you give me a few minutes, I'll answer the question.
To buy Bruno, to buy Botman, to buy.
But they were players that were already in the pipeline. They weren't Eddie Howe players.
No,
we weren't signing Sandro Tonali before Eddie Howe became manager.
No, I'm not saying under Ashley they were players. What I'm saying is, as soon as this club came in, they had ideas about players who wanted to come in. The only season really Eddie Howe's. The only season Eddie Howe's really
PIF decided to buy them.
100%.
So PIF can buy players this summer?
Mm-hmm. Well, Amanda Stavely.
But here's the point. So what happened at the start?
Let Christina have a point. Yeah, go on, Christina.
Just saying, what happened last season isn't going to happen again this season. We didn't have a director of football. We didn't have a CEO. There was lots of things missing last season that we've got this season. Would I remove all those people and get Eddie Howe to sign players this summer? No. Do I believe that we could sign some good players this summer. Yes. The two questions it doesn't have to be a simple black or white. Would you trust Eddie Howe with this money? I mean, I wouldn't trust you to park my car, but I would trust you on a show with us. There are different levels to this. Like, Eddie Howe is not necessarily the one who's going to be going out and spending the money. We've got players out there, we've got people out there who are already recruiting. We've already got a goalkeeper who we've found. We've got a couple of young South American players who are bring. Eddie Howe might not have picked these players, and I'm sure Eddie's got some players in mind that he wants. And if the board agree with it, that's who they'll go and get, and then he can work with these players. Do I trust him to work with the players that are signed? Absolutely. He worked with Toon Army, he worked with Bruno, he worked with Gordon. There's a list of players that he's worked well with at this club. But I get where you're coming from with it. And again, it's the disappointments of this season. I get it. Last summer was dreadful. We need a better summer. If we have as dross a summer this year as we did last year, I'm not going to be half as confident going into the next season as I would otherwise be. But it's not just going to be him making these decisions. Thankfully, maybe. But there's going to be, and obviously I hope that, I don't know what these family members called who was doing that job last year as well, but maybe don't ask him to sign any players. You know, we've got Shola moved to one side. We're moving people around back behind the scenes, making sure that we don't have, people getting sent on loan to the wrong clubs or bringing in players who aren't suitable. We've got to have faith in it, because it's not just asking, do you trust Eddie Howe? You're asking, do you trust Newcastle United with that money? And we don't really have a choice for that. Newcastle United's going to bring in the players that hopefully they see building a better team for next season.
They're going to bring in the players that PIF appointed people to do that sort of thing.
Hopefully, at least. Let's hope it's not just a case
Galileo,
of
thank you for your
players.
20 Norwegian kroner, or North Korean kroner, as Chris used to call them. Eddie Howe during the previous summer transfer was bad. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And was it with a super shot? I don't know if you read that one. Yeah, where's the love gone? Broken hearts need love. Yeah.
Well said, was that?
Yeah, I know it's.
I found you at, what was I found you at a song on Friday night with winning Chris. So you've got to say that there's a bit of love there, mate.
Where is the love? Where is the love?
Guys, so I get what you're saying. So do you guys go into next season thinking this is going to be great?
Yes.
We're going to be a great team.
Yeah.
I go into every day of my life
season.
believing it's going to be great.
Every season.
My big point is this. Do you know what? Next season, I think if we had the right
hope
manager,
that kills you.
Do you know what? I think if we had the right manager next season, it could be a season that you win the Premier League.
We'll find out. We might get a new manager over the summer.
No. You have answered before I actually finished the point. I think if we went next season with somebody different, we could win the Premier League. I think you look at the way teams are going to be. Well, I'm not. Man City are going to be without Pep. They're not. They're potentially going to have a dip in a season. Slot's probably going to go from Liverpool, so they're going to have a dip in a season. Arsenal have won the league, but we all know what bottlers Arsenal are, so I don't see them doing a double. Chelsea, they've got a chance to be up there or down the bottom. There's nothing there. Tottenham are going to struggle again next season, and we're going to not be playing any European football. I really, really think it's a real chance for Newcastle United to get up the top of the league, and maybe I'm being a bit positive saying we'll win it, but be in the top echelons of the league. And that's where we're manager. I don't see we're doing that under Howe. I don't see.
Which manager do you see as
well, strangely, my big worry is that we do exactly that under Eddie Howe, have a great season, finish in the Champions League again, but then realise that we've done it on the back of no European football. And that's his track record. That is his track record. That's his CV. If he ain't got European football, he'll get you Champions League. But when he has got European football, the following season's dross. Now, my argument is, and always has been, that there have been very good reasons why the 2 seasons who didn't finish Champions League, why we didn't. I think there were perfectly valid reasons why that happened, which you will not accept, and that's fine. We'll agree to differ. But my real worry is, would I have faith that if Eddie did finish Champions League, that he would still be the manager I would want to take us into that Champions League season? Was there again summer loving happened? Oh, summer loving happened a blast.
I think it's having a blast, and then it's happened so fast. But never mind. I'm a bit
Well,
of a
you can be my
geek for
Olivia
Greece.
Newton-John.
I'll be your Olivia Newton-John.
Hang on,
I've got two questions.
was I? Did you meet a girl that was crazy for me?
Did you take up bowling in the arcade? But I've got a couple of questions for the panel based on that. Sorry for absolutely taking over your spot here, Tim, for a second. But two questions that I've got, if I can. Right, one, so I want to know, in regards to Borky's point, because I definitely want Borky to answer this, but I also want you two to answer this in regards to if there was going to be a different manager next season who you believe Newcastle United could win the league over, who is that manager? You don't have to just name one, you can name a couple. Who do you think could win the league with Newcastle next season? Because Borky said that he feels a different manager could do that. So I'm interested to see who he thinks is the man for that job and who you think is the man for that job. My other one, though, is, and this one, you can answer this one first because it's a little bit quicker one. Can you see a scenario where we have a fantastic season next season under Eddie Howe, finishing, say, the top 5, maybe even the top 3, but then still get rid of Eddie Howe before the following year? Because technically speaking, we've seen every year he doesn't have Europe, we are one of the best teams in the league. And then when we do have Europe, we struggle quite significantly. And I was wondering that as we got towards like when the Eddie in, Eddie out debate started coming along, and it became a little bit obvious that we weren't going to make it into Europe next season, I started wondering, I was like, well, Eddie Howe can probably do well next season, but would we then trust him the season after? So that's me two questions, if you don't mind indulging me.
So go on.
Is it me first?
Well, you started it, to be fair.
New manager. I think we've missed out on too many good managers, to be perfectly honest. But the new manager has to be...
Don't say you would have had Michael Carrick here.
No, but Mourinho I would have here 100%. Fabregas I would have had here 100%. So there's the old bright. You know what? I'm not the guy to pick a manager. I don't watch a lot of foreign football, so you've got to pick a manager who you think can move you to the next level. So let somebody better than me pick the manager. But in regards to, do I think we could get a better manager? Yeah, I think we could. I think we could get somebody more enthusiastic in football. Somebody who's more, what got a personality, I suppose, is the thing. Eddie Howe hasn't got much of a personality. And that's the biggest issue, is that he goes out in the press conference and he bores you to shit, to be perfectly honest. He's got absolutely nothing about, sorry, I swore. He's got absolutely nothing about him as a person. In regards to actually, sorry, what was your other question, Christina? I've lost the plot.
Could you say a situation where we have a really fantastic season and then they sack him?
That was the question, basically.
There doesn't seem to be any circumstance that they're going to sack him, so not really.
I think to happen eventually.
If you have a season like this season, you get away with it, then good luck, Dave. You're on £9 million a season, and you can get away with it.
He'll not be on £9 million this season.
Go for it.
Season just gone. He'll not be on £9 million for that.
Well, £6 million. It must be a nightmare for him. I'm sure his kids will have to go without a little bit of yogurt and some grapes. So terrible season.
How much are you spending on yogurt and grapes, Folky? Goodness me.
Win, what's your answer to those two questions?
Well, as I've said, since Klopp left Liverpool, I would have been to Klopp before now, and just made him act like the Godfather, make him an offer he can't refuse, and just say, yeah, get yourself up here, bunny lad.
Did you check Trivago?
Can't stupid just say £20 million £20 million a year.
And could you
That-
see
that's
Newcastle
what I
sacking
would
Eddie
do.
Howe if he gets to European
and
football?
then and that's the 64, and obviously not. If he's got your Champions League 3 seasons out of 5 with Newcastle United under the financial constraints we are under, absolutely no chance of that happening.
But when at the minute you are Eddie Howe out, aren't you? You want him gone.
No, I don't want him gone. I can understand why he should be.
But no, that was your levels. You know, you
Yeah,
set yourself levels at the start of the season.
Absolutely.
So you're Eddie Howe gone, or you've flip flopped the other way.
If they decided to get rid of Eddie Howe, I wouldn't have had a care in the world. Wouldn't have had an argument, none at all. Am I pleased he's staying? Absolutely, I'm pleased he's staying. Was I
Super
saying
chats.
I nominate Chris Kamara? He'd be a great manager.
Oh, he would.
Not much chance of that happening. And Macmillan, paint stripper, thanks again. Borky, are you still flying the Southgate flag?
I would have Southgate over Howe any
Shut up.
Oh, Harvey doubled
100%.
down. You had a chance to
Because
back
he's
that book.
because
Why have you done that?
hang on,
full of
hang on.
personality.
Hang on. Can I triple down on this?
No,
I would
don't.
I would personally stitch the black and white stripes inside of his waistcoat, you know, to get him onto the pitch forward.
You're on the wind-up, Bucky. You gotta be. He's not like, you talk about personality, you know. He is down, isn't he?
Southgate's brilliant. He raises men up better than they can be.
Is it the drama? Well, I was going to say the BBC drama that's inspired you, but that was after you've mentioned Southgate, because you mentioned him a few months ago, didn't you? So,
I've mentioned him throughout my time here. I think Southgate would be a brilliant manager for Newcastle.
There you go.
People might laugh at us. People might take the mick. You know, sack Howe and get Southgate in and see what the difference is. I think Southgate's a brilliant manager.
I think the problem with Eddie Howe, in one sense, to me, is that he's got too much of a touch of Southgate to him, in that he's not ruthless enough. That's how I see it. But to answer your question,
Same hairstyle.
yeah. To answer your question, Tina, I think. Well, the question was the manager, wasn't it? First of all, and,
Yeah.
you know, I'll stick to what I said months ago, and I would get Iraola.
I
I think
knew
he's a
you were
manager
going to say
who's-
that, to be fair.
Well, I know. I've said it. It's pointless deviating. I've said it a million times. So, like I say, he's in talks with AC Milan apparently now, and he's on an upwards trajectory, and he would bring that positivity. I love his tactics. I love how he plays the game, in that it's a variation. Sometimes it's nice, short passing. Sometimes it's direct, rock and roll football, if you want to put it that way. And I think he would slot in brilliantly. The fact that he's had to rebuild Bournemouth 2 summers in a row, losing his best players, and it seemingly is a no negative difference on how he plays, tells me that his tactics, his systems are bulletproof in that sense. And it will be a fresh voice. I think everyone would get on board with that. And I think actually his reputation is at a high level now, whereby I think some players would look at that and I think they'd be like, yeah, I want to go there. They've got Iraola, who's the next best thing right now, and Newcastle have got him. I think it will, optics wise, look really good for Newcastle as well. In terms of whether Newcastle would sack Eddie Howe if he got Europe, no, I think there's no chance of that. And it's very interesting you say that, Christina, because I was literally speaking to Peter today about that exact point. You know,
Yeah, you
if
see
we
where
got
I'm coming
Europe-
from with that question, right?
Oh, yeah,
You see
yeah,
why
yeah.
I'm asking it, yeah.
I know. And it's like, we're back to where we were in that, look, Eddie, you couldn't manage Europe for 2 seasons prior to this. We've now got it back again, but we've seen enough to know that you can't really juggle these games. So we're going to now get a, elite manager in who can. And if you're going to be ruthless, then you can see the argument for that. You can. But that would be ruthless. And if we're not sacking Eddie Howe now, there's no chance we're going to be ruthless to do it then. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, if you think that's the right thing to do anyway. And maybe Eddie Howe would learn. Maybe he's got 2 campaigns under his belt. Maybe it's a case of that would come along and he would have to learn. He would know he would have to learn, because it would be a little bit eye-opening if he still isn't rotating players after during the third European campaign. Yeah, I mean, and on paper,
with regard to Areola,
yeah.
can you explain why you think? Because let's face it, if Man City want Areola, they can have him. Can you explain why there appears to be no interest from them at all, and they're more interested in like a Maresca?
Well, I think with Maresca, he knows those players already, or some of them anyway, because he was there before. And I just think
It's a bit
in.
since he was there now, mate.
It's been a little bit, so I don't know how many are still there, but I think he's cut from the same cloth as Guardiola in that how he wants to play football. So maybe they just see it as more of a seamless transition, whereby he plays the exact same brand and carries on that machine, if you like. Granted, they might look at Iriola and might not think he's good enough. I'm not sitting here saying he's the magic wand.
Interesting here
Go on,
from
Whit.
Sapir. I don't know. Is Milan fan accounts are saying NUFC to offer Iriola a 3-year deal.
But Win, just a quick question on that then. Why aren't any of these big clubs that have lost the manager over this season, you look at them, why are none of them coming in for Eddie Howe? Why hasn't one of those clubs come in for Eddie?
Because he's got him. Because he's at a club.
But he's at a club. But no, you're saying that these big
Iriola
managers
isn't at a club.
No, you're saying these big managers are at clubs, but you can come in and you can get a manager out of a club. Why are none of these clubs coming in for the greatest manager in your lifetime, Eddie Howe? You know what? Why aren't they coming in to get him?
Because he's got a job. And my argument is Iriola hasn't got a job.
But if you're a big club and you want the best manager, why aren't you coming in to get Eddie Howe? Why haven't Man United come in to get Eddie Howe? Why haven't Tottenham come in to get Eddie Howe?
Well, because Man United are doing very nicely with Carrick. Thank you very much.
But when they had him, you would have said Eddie Howe was the bigger manager. Why didn't they come in to get him? Why haven't Tottenham come in to get him?
Maybe they did. Maybe they said I don't.
Why have no big club?
How do you know?
Nothing.
How do you know?
Because it's never been reported.
Why would it be reported when he was at Newcastle?
But I'm saying, why haven't any of them
been as successful as he has
been
at Newcastle?
But even if it hasn't been reported, why have none of them come in to get him?
Well,
why isn't he? Because Man United are a bigger club than Newcastle. Let's be honest. Tottenham are probably a bigger club than Newcastle.
Nice to hear you admit that.
So you've got these bigger clubs. Why have none of these bigger clubs come in for Eddie Howe?
These bigger clubs, who you would assume should be finishing above us in the league.
But not that point. The point is, why have none of the bigger clubs come in for Eddie Howe?
Because the problem. Well, for a start, we're paying them a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question to respond to that kind of makes it again a mute point. Sorry to coin the phrase again. None of these clubs have gone in for Jurgen Klopp, and he's doing adverts on ITV. So there's probably a bit more to the selection process of a manager than just picking who you think the best manager. Because surely people would have tried to get Jurgen Klopp, especially Tottenham, who was struggling, and Chelsea, who was struggling. You would think one of them would have went in for Klopp, and nobody did. So I would imagine just
and again, we don't know that nobody did.
Klopp's pulled out of football. Klopp has said himself he doesn't want to play football. So in which case, but even fair enough, if you couldn't get Klopp, why have none of these clubs got in after trying with Klopp to get Howe?
Must be because
he's not good enough. Because he's not good enough.
Yeah, that must be what it is.
Yep, it is 100%.
I've got some comments here I want to go through. I've started quite a few, and apologies, lads and lasses out there. It's ran away with us. But before we hand over the late night show, I want to run through some of them here. So we've got RSL question: why is midfield so crap? When a few years ago it was very good. They don't press now. Looks like their legs have gone. I think the answer's partly there, mate. I think it is a few years later, and I think legs have gone a bit. And I think ultimately for me, the balance is out of sync because we lack that holder. And last season, Tonali did it brilliantly. But this season, I think we've got number 8s in there who all want to go forwards, and we haven't been able to plug that gap defensively. That's my answer to that. let's have a look here. I've got quite a few just to go through here. Bear with me. I've got a super chat there, but we've been through that one. And we've got a Mackham in the resident Mackham there. I haven't got his comment here, but just to respond, he was asking us about the airport and what terminal to go to, because Sunderland are obviously in the European Tour next season. And yeah, obviously, first of all, you do go to Newcastle Airport, Terry. So yeah, that's that. So look for Newcastle Airport in your sat nav. I don't know what the Sunderland Airport's doing. It must be closed right now. But to be fair to Sunderland, they've done brilliantly. And I think what Sunderland have shown is that you can recruit a large turnover of players and still do well. You know, it is amazing what they've done. So all credit to them. Do you know what I mean? They've been through the doldrums. So, yeah, fair play. We've got
Can
Gary
I
there.
just
Good
say
luck
on
in the
that, Tim?
championship in 2 years'
Tim,
time.
we've got to pick up on that. Who the hell, the start of this season would have thought, you know, Sunderland were going to finish above Newcastle in a European place? You know,
That's crazy.
we sit here and we're trying to justify things. That's one thing that can't be justified. You know, we spent £250 million in the summer. We had, you know, we had, and you know what? You talk about better teams. You know, you talk about like Arsenal and all that having teams that are already pre-built. We had a pre-built team. We have finished. How many
had
points
no
behind
strikers.
Sunderland? How many places have we finished below Sunderland? How many players? You know,
How many strikers
how
did they start the
how
season with?
disappointing. Well, we start the season with 2 strikers. You know that would spend
Name them.
£225 million on.
At the start of the
But you
season?
know, well, we're spending £125 million on 2 strikers.
What-
you know,
what
Mohamed
did the
Salah, who
season start?
that takes that up to £250 million. Who you're sitting there trying to justify the fact Sunderland have finished that many points ahead of us and that many places ahead of us on not having 2 strikers? It's absolutely a disgrace. That's where the problem this
they've had a
season
better
is.
season
You know,
than us.
we love Newcastle United, and you know the one thing that you can't do is, you know, let your quiet little rivals behind you get ahead of you, and they got ahead of us massively this season. I don't care what anybody says. That's the biggest disgrace. We sit here and look at where we are in the Premier League and look where Sunderland are. That's the biggest disgrace, and the fact they beat were twice makes it even worse. And if anybody wants to sit on this channel and ever dispute this with us, I'll happily sit here and do it. That many
Got it,
points
Tina.
behind them finishing in Europe and them beating were twice. You know, you
We're gonna
justify
Tina
that to me.
Tina,
What?
you're going to say something? Oh, I'm hearing voices. Doesn't matter. I mean, we'll get it, Borky. You know what I mean? I think you'll get it as well. Yeah, we've got the late night show coming up as well. Christy, American Mag, Jamie, and Ian Supermac Mackay. I hope your optimism is still there, Ian, but we will find out.
Ian is not an optimist. He's very much on the Borky band.
Oh, we've got the new resident donor in the chat.
Yeah.
My dreams after the win over West Ham were sadly shattered in the Fulham game.
No, you were upset at the Fulham game.
I was absolutely. I am still furious about the Fulham game. That was
There
awful.
you go.
That was awful. Nobody escapes. Bruno, a coward, fakes cramp to get off after an hour because he can't be arsed.
Oh.
Yeah, he's our captain. I know. We owe him a lot. He's a great player, but he was bloody awful
Wow.
on Sunday.
Wow.
I asked half time whether he had a
Guns
stroke.
blazing. Guns blazing, man.
Yep.
That is.
There we go.
There you go, baby. There you go. Guns blazing, ladies and gents. Let's start with the late night show. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Boki. Thank you very much, all of you out there. Late night show right now, starting right now. Don't forget to smash that like button. We're going all the way to 11 p.m., ladies and gents. Let's go.
Set up for maximum confrontation and super opinionated debates. The NUFC Late Night Show with Chris the American Man, Derek the Mighty Wind, and the rest of the panel, Monday through Thursday from 9:30 p.m. UK and UFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army.
We are live, ladies and gents. Don't forget to smash that like button. It is Tuesday. The 2 days after. No, when do we play? Sunday? When do we play? Saturday.
Sunday.
I don't even know. Sunday.
Sunday.
2 days after Doomsday, after the final, the last nail on the coffin for Newcastle United. Win is smiling because he's enjoying the season. The rest of the fans are devastated for what has been a very. I mean, what can I say?
Horrible.
You know, it's no, that's a positive adjective for this season, man. We need something
Disappointing.
derogatory. Bad season. And the fact of the matter
Terrible
is,
season.
Boki was spot on a lot of things. By the way, we gotta be careful when we tell fans we hold no control. We shouldn't say this. It's irrelevant if we have an opinion because they're the ones making. PIF makes that decision. PIF thinks the manager's fine, so therefore we need to jump on the bandwagon and just say the same thing like little robots. We got to be careful when we tell fans to do that because the same could have been said 6 years ago, 7, 8, 9 years ago. Hey, the owner thinks everything is fine. Let's trust the process. Let's not say anything. Let's not whinge. Why are you canceling your season ticket? Wait until he'll get it right. We got to be careful when we say things like that, right? Fans can have their opinion, have their say. And let me tell you something. We keep on going over this. Same thing over and over. 80, 90% of fans agree that this season was crap. So let's not sugarcoat it. But either way,
90%. I would think 100%.
We should no. You're in that 10% that think that everything is gonna be all right. So anyway, Jamie, Ian is devastated. We'll go to Ian's takes on the Fulham game because I saw some chats on the fan forum. That's very much a Happy Clapper fan forum now. The Happy Clapper's taking over. Jamie, you might want to come back, man, because everybody live in rainbows and roses now, so you don't have to fear the chat anymore, mate. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, become a member. Sean, I haven't heard your takes on the game. Jamie, we're going to get to you, of course. But I want to hear from Ian. Ian, what are your thoughts on... I mean, you started already with
before
the
you
coward.
do, was that
Super
thanks
chat?
for your super chat, bud? Porky repeating words and sounding like Porky Pig.
There you go. Thank you very much, Wazza. Right. You can send in your super chats as well, by the way. Nice to see Steve in the chat as well, my nemesis, who has been going for a minute. Nice to see him on the chat. And, no, really, nice to see him. I like everybody, all opinions, to be on this channel. Ian, what are your thoughts? You called the golden boy of Win and Jamie a coward. You ordered the words, calling him a coward.
It was just absolute chaos, wasn't it? I mean, I was excited about the green shoots that I saw in the way that we played, putting the players in the right positions. Thought I picked it up at Forest, that there was some great stuff, a fabulous goal, and then delivered it against West Ham. I had big expectations for that Fulham game, but I mean, I don't know why we started with a 5-man defence. Didn't understand that at all. But it was absolute chaos, wasn't it? I don't know how many right backs we had during the course of the second half. I just thought, I heard Dan Burner went and asked someone in the crowd how West Ham were getting on. It was just lackadaisical, good word. And I thought Bruno encompassed it. Bruno, who's got such high standards, who's puts his cape on and saves the day. I thought he escaped a few times with being slow and ponderous in front of his own defence, had the ball taken off and got away with it a few times. But then, yeah, he went down and claimed cramp and just came off after an hour. But then, my heart sank when it was Alanga and Wissa that came on. And after 10 minutes of that, suddenly, finally, Neve and Murphy get some game time. But I just felt so sorry for those guys coming on with 10 minutes to go, with absolute chaos to walk into. I mean, what were they supposed to do in that situation? People had just given up. I certainly had given up by then. I just thought it was awful. And I thought Howe didn't have a clue during that game. His tactical switches were nonsense, and he changed them. Nothing worked. His players let him down as well. I felt sorry for all of those. There were 3,000 guys in the crowd who must have spent 300, 400 quid to get down there for the weekend. That's £1,000,000 that the fans spent between them to go and watch that crap.
Damn, £1,000,000? Jeez. Is that how much away fans
Must
bring
be.
in?
Well, no, 3,000. You buy your ticket, you get your transport, go down there. If you stay over, you've got to feed yourself, drink a few pints. They've spent it.
Which, by the way, no, but hold on, no, Ian. I have to be, as a moderator, as a man in the middle, as an objective mind of this channel, I need to say, with all due respect, in a capitalist world that we all like to live in, hey, it is what it is. You choose to go out there. I mean, come on, man. And, you know, if you can't, nobody can guarantee you a win or a loss. I mean, I agree with you as far as attitude and all that stuff. I agree with that, but I mean, a win or a loss is a win or a loss. It's football, man.
I get that. I don't know. There's no guarantees on doing that. What I mean is that from the very start, I mean, they might have been wrong-footed by Tonali getting injured in the warm-up, but I just thought we lined up not to lose, and we were awful at that. And it was because there were, I mean, he's Willock waving his leg at the free kicks, all half-hearted, no effort. It was awful, and I think someone should pull the players up for how poor they were and what little effort they put in.
We'll talk about the players
protecting themselves for the World Cup. Then they've got to think about these guys who have spent £1,000,000 between them to go and watch it.
We'll talk about the players in a minute. Yeah, we'll talk about the players. Jamie, what do you think? Is the season's over? The finale is here, and I mean, it's a chronicle over death foretold, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, this season being euthanized, hasn't it? I think, look, there's been people saying we needed a big change since early on in the season, maybe before that. And I've said all along, you needed to give the manager the full season, partly because he's got a bit of credit in the bank and partly just because there was a lot going on there. But I think, to be honest, with a bit of reflection, the bit that has really annoyed me the most has been this last sort of tranche of the season since the international break. Because we went out the FA Cup and that was disappointing. I know it was Man City, but it was a second team and they let it go again from a winning position. Then we went out of the Champions League and we went toe-to-toe with Barcelona for 3/4 of that tie. But then, once again, towards the end, we got ourselves humiliated. And then the result that has turned things is losing that derby from being 1-0 up at half-time. Incidentally, you keep that 1-0 lead and we would have finished above them. If you think about it, it was a 5-point gap. We would have been a point ahead of them if we'd have won that game in the final reckoning. But even after all that, with the season over as a competitive thing, the last 7 games that we had have returned 7 points. That is relegation form. And I was looking at the table. We were 5 points away from a Europa spot. We were 11 points away from a Champions League spot. Even in those last few games, we could have done that. If we'd beaten Palace, if we'd beaten Forest, Fulham, or Bournemouth, if we'd have got 6 points or even 12 points from those games, we would have qualified for the big competitions. And the excuses were gone because it was a fact that we had games midweek, weekend, right the way through the season. But with them out of the way, with most of the squad available, they just couldn't do it. And I think it was on Eddie Howe to show in those games, right, we're looking towards the new season. And we're looking towards doing something. Yeah, we will need to replace some guys and bear with while we have a little bit of a gap there. But they've just shown absolutely nothing, and Sunday was an epitome of that. And I agree, Tonali getting injured in the warm-up throws your plan. But it was just the same game we've seen so many times this season. Not threatening, not looking interested, letting a team that doesn't look all that good, just getting a couple of soft goals. And I just think, I think you need to make the change this summer.
Ooh. There you go, baby. There you go. Look at
Right,
that.
there you
Win is
go.
devastated, by the way, for everything that you guys are saying. So I apologize. But per se, gifted a membership there. And who is it going to? It has gone to Luke
Gooderum.
Gooderum. There you go. Look Goody. Welcome, mate. And enjoy your membership, of course.
Yes, brother.
Sean, end of the season, mate. I mean, and you, they Macca's fans in Europe, and you live in Concert.
That's all. That's all.
Every week we talk about where you live, and now you are proper knackered.
Yeah, that's all we're hearing up here. Is Sunderland. That's all I'm hearing from my friends. We've done the double on you. We've got Europe. How big are you? You're nobodies. That's what they're saying to us. To me, when he lost his first derby, it should have been gone then. Then the second one, but there's no ambition. He hasn't learned from taking the lead, and then we've lost loads of games. I could see us being in a relegation battle next season if we don't spend well, because that team is a relegation battle.
You mean like the way the team is playing, not the
the way the team that whole season. That I'm surprised. We're lucky that we were lucky that we didn't get relegated, because if there was more games to go, I think we would have been.
I mean, Jamie, let's talk to proper fans. You know what I mean? Like, we'll take Wayne out the way, because even before the Mackham game, both of them, I think he said that they're irrelevant, that the game means nothing, and pretty much. So we can't put aside the fact that they finished in Europe and we didn't. And one of the talking points of this season was, as far as the banter is concerned, that we're in Europe and you're not. And I mean, that can't go unnoticed. I mean, Malik Chiao came out in the Chronicle. I did a video on it today where he spoke. He spoke about it. He brought it up. So it can't be put aside. It's there, and they're gonna have to deal with that elephant in that room the whole next season. Ain't that right, Jamie?
Well, you know what? I wish they did have to deal with it, but it's him who has to deal with it. It's Sean, and it's any of us who know Sunderland fans. Any of us who used to work with him, they're turning up on your social media. Guys you haven't seen or spoken to for 10, 15 years, getting their passports out and stuff like that. And this is something we've always had over them. Newcastle United has a rich and storied European history. We've played in a big one. We've won a European trophy. We've qualified extremely regularly since the mid-90s, barring the Ashley era. And they've played 4 games in Europe when they fluked the FA Cup in 1973. 4 games, 2 ties. Home away. And it was something we always had over them. And to be fair, their fans are extremely long-suffering, because I've seen every other club in England just about get European football in that time, every big club. And it's probably long overdue for them, to be fair. But it's something we've always had over them. And like I say, a 5-point gap between us and them. If we'd have won one of those derbies, or if we'd have drew them both, we'd have been above them. They wouldn't have been in Europe. So not only are they in Europe, they are exactly 100% in Europe at our expense. Take away any amount of the 6 points they got against us, and they are not in that competition.
And they are...
the fact that we couldn't get up for those games again.
And, it's easy to say, not to care about them. And don't care about them. I care less about them. But the fact is that they're here now. It's like a fly in your house. You can't get rid of. So
yeah,
they're on they're all over social media. And they are the most insufferable fans in the world. Like, no matter what, they're annoying. So, I want to ask Gwen, I know you don't care about them, and that's fine. Nobody cares about them. But the fact of the matter is, when you assess... Well, let me ask you this. If the board, if PIF with Hopkinson and what's Shorty called? Wilson. And they're all together. They're all together. My bad, man.
That's a strapping 6-footer there.
Hey, baby, I'm taller than him. So I can get the call people Shorty if I'm taller than you. Come on. Now, listen. if they get together, you don't think that this comes up in any shape, in any conversation when they come to when they're assessing this season? You don't think that the Mackhams come into the conversation at all when they're assessing Newcastle United season and what the fans think of it?
No, I don't think it comes into it at all. I'll tell you something else. All you're going on about Mackhams on social media, I can put my hand on my heart and saying I have never yet in my life seen a Mackham on social media except on ours. Because I certainly wouldn't watch it. You've got to make a
You ain't gotta watch.
You have to make an effort to go and
No, not really.
see that. Well,
Not really.
I've never seen it. I'm on social media all day.
No, you're not. First of all, you're not on social media.
Single.
Hey,
I've never
Jamie,
seen a single.
Jamie, come on, man. Dude, listen,
No,
Mackham, except on a Newcastle site. Because I certainly would never go onto a Mackham site.
If you go
Are
on
you serious
X,
right now?
when Newcastle have
if
lost
you've
to
lived-
Fulham and the club puts that up, the final score.
Oh my
I haven't
God!
looked myself, but I guarantee
All you gotta do is go
now
to the picture.
the comments will be loaded with Mackhams.
It's the algorithm.
Well,
it already does it, man.
I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is I haven't seen that.
Yeah, because you don't see it, don't mean that it ain't happening in the world, fool.
But what I'm saying is it definitely will not have any reflection at all on what PIF do.
Well,
How
I mean,
well Sunderland are doing will not affect their thinking one little bit.
no, but when I'm talking about not about what they're doing, man, I'm talking about when they assess this
We've
season.
got a couple of super chats so first.
Yeah, go on.
Adrian, thank you for your £5, mate. Hopkinson clearly said in an interview that Eddie knew what the season's targets were. I find it hard to believe that they were met. Well, I don't think he did, actually, did he? If you think back to that initial interview that he did, he said, we have got no fixed targets in mind, da-di-da-di-da. And was there a saying,
top half
17
of the
losses
league would have been
does
a
look
given,
unacceptable,
wouldn't it?
though, doesn't it? And indeed, 17 losses is unacceptable.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nobody's denying that for a second.
Only the bottom three lost more.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of taking a mick on
There's a
Sean.
series of damning statistics.
We take kind of people just looking taking a mick on Sean, but Sean mentioned relegation, and I mean, I never really put that in my head. I never thought it could be a possibility, but maybe if you do the mathematical, or you would like do these shoulda, coulda, woulda, maybe it was in the realm of possibilities.
Well, like Jamie
of
said,
being in that fight.
I did the video, didn't I, at the time when we had 7 games left to play, 1 game a week. So I put that magnificent 7 video out showing us splattering the 7 teams we had to play in the same
magnificent
fixtures.
7, man.
And that just went. The first
Yeah,
game was the Mackham.
If you look at those games,
We know when.
it's fair enough to say you're getting nothing at Arsenal away, even if they played reasonably okay in that match.
I had us
every
getting
one of
18.
those other 6 was a winnable game.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
absolutely.
but on paper, we should have had
Many games.
15 points out of that,
Yeah.
and we got 7.
And it's damning because the last game of the season is in the typical way, in a typical Newcastle way this
What's in your
season.
mind?
And it's pretty much because you can think, okay, things are getting a little bit better, maybe they're, but then boom, so do we think about the tactics? Do we think like he went back to the same thing over and over again? Many things come to my mind when analyzing Newcastle overall. Like what's happened with Lewis Hall? Lewis Hall doesn't make the World Cup. You try to play it off, say, the list is not out, but the list was already out. Lewis Hall is not in the World Cup. Why? Why is he not in the World Cup? I have no clue. That may be a Tuchel problem, by the way. He left a lot of proper players out and got Gordon and all the favorites in there. So I don't know. Maybe he is just a bad manager, maybe, or maybe made bad decisions. It has nothing to do with how. But then, a lot of things happen. Like he didn't play Hall up to what he should be playing. He played another player in that position. That made no sense. And this is not about, this is a bedwetter, so of course he's going to say that. That's a happy clapper. Of course that he's going to say that. Many people here that have been balanced are like what the hell is he doing? Ian
Well,
tries
I
to be
don't think
balanced.
there's any.
Jamie, the same thing, and you're like, what the hell what's going on? Like it just you're trying to make sense of it, but it just not.
But
it's
trying
not,
to put it on Eddie Howe's
it's not
tours
working.
is ridiculous.
Who else are you
Why
gonna put it
not?
on? He's the one that puts.
He's the one he didn't pick the England squad.
No. I'm
No,
talking
it's about like
about
the team.
exactly the team
So,
selection.
Right.
That's
So if
the
you're
manager,
Thomas,
that's the
if
manager.
you're Thomas Tuchel, you've got Lewis Hall's full body of work this season to look at.
Yeah, but
And
when
you're
you're
saying
going out with
that then he decides not
When?
to include him because of the last 3 games.
you're going with the minute, man. I'm talking about
Yeah,
the
but then
main thing
you
here.
answer me this though.
Yeah.
Tino's gone, and he's played less games than Hall. And
Well,
Yeah.
that was a crazy
Yeah.
decision to me when he's
I
not even
think
fit.
Tuchel has picked a squad to play a certain game plan, and Hall's style of play obviously doesn't fit because he's taken Tino, who, as you say, is made of Weetabix and hasn't played since
Right.
January. He's taken Jed Spence, who's practically got relegated, and he's left Lewis Hall and Trent Alexander-Arnold out. I think Lewis Hall's been a success story of this season, one of very few, and I wouldn't put that one on Howe, although it was strange he got left out of or got played out of position recently. I don't think that's the reason he's missed the World Cup squad. I think it's Tuchel's got something in mind, and he'll live or die by.
And by the
sort of
way,
team setup he
a
puts
lot of
out.
people that also want to shape everything into Eddie Howe's fault like to say, well, he played Burns, so he go to the World Cup as if Tuchel is that stupid. I mean, I think that, and also saying that Tuchel chose Burn over Hull, that's not the case. Tuchel didn't choose Burn to be a left back. He's probably not even going to play that much. He's going to be a center back. So you got to be careful there. But it is an astonishing call. But there are a lot of questions, even at the end of the season. What's going to happen?
Name that advert.
We need a
What was
refreshing
it?
change,
We
please.
need a
Listen,
refreshing change.
Woodpecker,
which
sweet
which
cider,
which
it's
which you
horrible.
can't get anymore.
It ain't
Time for a
gonna happen.
refreshing change.
Yeah.
Cheers, brother.
Ian, did you want to get in there? Are you there?
He looks like he's frozen.
Ian is knackered right now. There you go. Ian is proper knackered. But the Anthony Gordon, like news from today, Anthony Gordon, it looks like his deal is imminent to happen. And of course the World Cup kicks off next month. I think that everybody's moved on from him, to be honest. First, it's not the same as the Isak situation because fans wanted him to, defended him to a certain extent before it exploded. They wanted to keep him. It was almost like us against them. But when it comes to Gordon, he has no fans of Newcastle United. He has a little 10% win and Niall Powell that march for him. But other than that, everybody is in agreement that, he should go. Either whether you like him or not, But so should we just try to get out of that as soon as possible? I mean, how do we work things out? There was a rumor that there was a player involved from Bayern Munich to come here, but that's been rubbish, I think, by League Writer.
It was the second choice keeper, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a goalkeeper.
Been stung with that before with Elliot Anderson.
And and we need a goalkeeper, but not the second choice of even if it's Bayern Munich. And I want to get rid of that one as soon as possible. The one that was a shocking one today was Harvey Barnes being linked to Aston Villa. Is according to News Now, Aston Villa has launched an aggressive pursuit of 16-goal winger. 16 goals he scored this season? That's incredible to me, man. That is insane to me. The amount of, he's been thrown under the bus, ran over him, backed up again, ran over him by wind and the whole lot. And he still managed to get 16 goals. That's insane. Because of the PSR pressure, Newcastle might consider this. If Gordon leaves, though, they need to really consider it because what's going to happen then? Now we're going to have to trust that this summer that we get a left wing. What do you guys make of that? And first of all, we should never be selling anybody to Aston Villa. who have knackered us this season as well, and they are our immediate competitors.
I mean, they were.
They were until they left us behind.
I think Harvey Barnes as well. Were they talking about something like 35 million?
Yeah.
So see if you sell Gordon, you get like 80 million. That's money that can finance a refurb of the first team. See him if Tonali goes or Livramento or Hall. But you're right. You don't sell Gordon and Barnes in the same go, surely. There's an opportunity there for Barnes. You will need another left-sided attacker, I think. You can't just play Harvey Barnes every single week. But I think it'd be really foolish to let him go, especially at that price that doesn't really fund a kind of refit of the first team.
Right.
So I think, I can't remember what his contract terms are, but I think we tell him to stick that one.
Hey man, what's crackers, man? You're looking at your phone and like somebody sent you.
Crackers to let Harvey Barnes go for.
Oh, I thought you were looking at your you were swiping left or right on your Tinder. Yeah, that's cracker.
I'm just doing some calculation.
Oh my God, God forbid.
No, I wouldn't sell Harvey Barnes. Like, I think.
So he got 7 Premier League goals last season in 1961 minutes. So he got a goal every 280 minutes. That's a goal every just over 3 games. 1 goal every 3 games.
The thing is, I think Premier League goals is a little bit of
and 1 assist.
Misleading statistic because all the cup games were against either other Premier League sides or they were in the Champions League where the top.
Well, he got 6 in the Champions League. That's the point I'm making. He's out of his 16 goals.
Exactly, but he scored. He scored against Barcelona. He scored in Leverkusen, I think. He scored against decent teams in the Champions League, didn't he? And all those goals were against top teams. It's not like he didn't take penalties like Gordon. It's not like he's padded by getting a hatful against somebody crap in the cup. You know what I mean? They were like, I think that's 17 goals in however many appearances, and Premier League goals is neither here nor there.
With Barnes, so you can also play him on the right, can't you? He has played there as well. He's done a shift over there, hasn't he? Yeah. So he's a player that wants to play. So he's not bothered if he plays on the left or the right. But I'd rather keep Barnes.
I mean, somebody said we got Park, he'd be a good sub probably. I mean, and test him that way. By the way, I threw the link out there so you can join the WhatsApp group. Join the WhatsApp group via link. It's just a WhatsApp group where we have a conversation. We have like 88 people there. They're all happy clappers now, man. So, Jamie left. There were too many bedwetters. So the happy clappers took over, mate. You know what I mean? So you might enjoy it now because nobody fights, man. It's a cuckoo land, la la land, roses, and all that crap.
Sensible comment you get.
Yeah, it's criminal. But yeah. So the Harvey Barnes thing, I don't get it, and I wouldn't entertain whatsoever. Surely, both on the Harvey Barnes side, I wouldn't like Aston Villa wouldn't move me unless Newcastle are really that devastating to stay. And Newcastle United surely should say, look, we're not going to lose a player to them. Let's pay Barnes more.
The only thing I think would turn Barnes is Aston Villa's in Champions League, aren't they? That's the only thing I can see him going.
And that's devastating. And those are the consequences of a bad season that people like Wayne don't want to see, for example. But that you start reaping, you start sowing. Or you reap what you sow. You start reaping what you sowed throughout the whole season. So there you go. You got to pay consequences, Win. That's the way it works.
Just
players don't care about the bashment.
I mean, looking at the comments and things, people are saying, Harvey Barnes, not regular starter, that sort of thing. Some people saying they would sell him. It's going to come up, not just Harvey Barnes. There's going to be players in and around that squad that people can say I don't think they've had a good season, because to me, the only people who've come out of this season with a bit of credit is Bruno, Lewis Hall, and potentially at the back end, William Asula. and you could make
Cigarette.
say Barnes has had a decent season, but you know, there's other games he's gone missing. But everybody, where we are at the minute, anyone whose name comes up, you can't get rid of them all. What you need is, like, we'll need to keep, you know, your Nick Pope, Dan Burn, Jacob Murphy as squad players. It's replacing them and getting a decent first team that we need. Oh, was I've written a book?
My new book is out.
My new book's out this Friday, The Ben Will Panther.
I'm sick of people trying to push their books on me.
I know, man. That's so
I know.
People trying to, you know what I mean? We got Wayne trying to act like he's a legend now, trying to sell a book. You know, come on, man. Get out of here. Trying to scam fans and all that. Lord have mercy, man. Making up stories that he was trying to get Ashley out. He never gave up his season ticket, by the way. So he wasn't doing that much work.
Yes, he did.
No,
He did give up his season ticket.
No, you didn't, man. You was
Yes,
right.
he
You got
did.
2 seats. He got another one on top of that. He got another one for his son. So putting more money in Ashley's pockets. Come
No,
on, man.
I took mine, and my son kept it on
Yeah, right.
because they're such good seats. And then when he finally decided he'd had enough as well, then I couldn't bear to let them both go, so I took them both back on.
That's where he's like, oh,
I
crap.
am the
None of that is
luckiest. I
trying
am
to
the
take it.
luckiest man in the world.
There
That's
you go.
kind of moving your ticket round a little bit.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly,
It's like letting
exactly.
your wife use your car and saying I've sold the car.
There you go.
I thought you were going to say it's like letting your best friend use your wife.
That's what you're into, man. Not what we're into over here. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, the season's over. There was a headline today as well about a 10 million. It looked like Newcastle. The report was exploded in South America, claiming that Newcastle lodged a former 10 million offer for Gremio's 21-year-old left-footed center back Vieri, according to the Chronicle. And the reality is, the lead writer has clarified the state of play. Newcastle's new South American scouting network, led by a recent hire, Thomas Federspiel, is that how you say it?
Got it? Yeah. Yeah.
Has heavily watched him. I can do that, but I watch the South American football all the time, so it don't take that much. A formal bid has been downplayed. Alarm bells have been raised at Benton over Vieri's rash approach after he picked up a straight red card for a horror challenge in Brazil. So maybe added to, but we don't say nothing about Joe Linton. So you know, what's the issue there? The little 10 million ain't gonna hurt nobody. A little red card ain't hurt nobody, man. You know what I mean? So, but a left-footed center back. I mean, I guess it's a center back. It'd be different, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, we're 1-1, don't we? Because Botman's always in the garage.
Yeah, but 10 million is nothing this day and age, is it?
No, it's
so
not.
it'll be a good,
Yeah,
be a
pick
good
him up.
buy.
I'd say pick him up.
Yeah, but it's good to see we're looking. That's what I like about it. It shows that there appears to be some progress behind the
if
scenes.
it's true, if there's any substance to it, you know.
Yeah.
You doubting Lee Ryder, man?
Ollie Ryder said it. No.
Lee Ryder in the Chronicle, man.
Yeah.
Let me get. You want Lee Ryder to tell you?
No, I didn't hear it was him what had said it. But even then, he might get it wrong, you know.
Oh.
Look,
okay.
No, but I
everyone's
think
told us
Federspiel's he's got a history in South America. Good history.
Yeah.
Well, that's good development. I think.
Isn't Lee Ryder from Wallsend or Gateshead? Which one?
No idea.
One of the two. I think one of the two. Maybe. Anyway. What? I don't know what that had to do with the conversation, but either way.
No, neither do I.
Sorry about that. Now, we do got a little bit of German drama, though. Because it looks like Bayern Munich's chief, Uli, who Neb? Okay,
Hoeneß.
is that how you say it?
Uli
Hoeneß.
There ain't no R in that surname, man.
Hoeneß.
It's Honeb.
Hoeneß.
The neb, the B on the end is a German double S.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's not what it is.
And then you've got H. The O is an
It's called
umlaut
an
O.
est set.
in
It's
proper
called an
letters.
est set.
It's
In
Hernus.
proper letters, it says Honev.
If you knew anything about football, you would know his name was Hernus anyway.
No, well, no. I
One of
mean, I
the
knew he was a
greatest
football. I know he was a
German
football player.
internationals
It's
of
in
all
the
time.
world. Like
I knew that. I knew that, but I never, Honev. I'll say how his mom would call him. Honev. Has just launched a blistering public statement accusing Lothar Matthäus of derailing Bayern's move for Newcastle's player Nick Woltemade amid fresh Sky Sport reports that Woltemade wants a summer exit from Tyneside due to a lack of minutes under Howe. I don't. This is why I think that we're starting to have issues, because there's too much drama going on. It's too much little, back and forth pettiness. Well, listen, rightly so. If it's on the Woltemade side, rightly so. He plays a center back when you applauded that, So he needs to be a center forward. But little things here and there, you add that to Gordon, to Livramento not wanting to sign a new contract, to many Tonali's rumored as well, although he seems like he wants to stay at last. But then you also start seeing images of Bruno in a Man United shirt with Lewis Hall, and Lewis Hall, sometimes it feels like he's having an issue with Eddie Howe. It's too much of this childish drama going on, man. And it's a waste of time. So we still got players to bring in, by the way.
On.
Oh, here we go. Fucking hell. Yeah, of course. Of course. But
if
it's
all
making
this childish drama is in fact occurring.
I told you, man, about Jamie liked my phrase in English translated into in Spanish translated into English, man. When the river sounds. Do you remember it, Jamie? You don't remember it. You're not.
No, I remember you saying it, but I can't finish the quote. Go on.
Hold on, let me look it up. I gotta translate it again because it's hold on. Well, it's basically there's no smoke without fire. Anyway,
well, that's a lot more succinct than anything about a river. There you go.
No, I'll bring you the river one. Don't worry. But come on, there's no smoke without fire.
You can't cover the sun with one finger.
Oh, you can. You certainly can't do that. That's my phrase too. But come on, man. We've been on this thing before. I know you want to be optimist, but we've been on this football thing for a while, man. The rumors don't just sound for no reason. So
they do.
No, but not like. Come on, man. Yeah, but nothing. I'm not saying that Real Madrid is gonna come get Bruno. I'm trying. Things could make sense if it happened.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I think a lot of the
leaving.
agents push it, don't they, as well, to get deals. And,
yeah.
And then if you look at a lot of it, though, the London papers always make rumours about Newcastle, and it's,
Big pinch of salt. Time.
Exactly. But I do think there's a bit of an upset in the camp. I think there's a bit of an upset in the camp.
Yeah, so do I.
But
I don't think everything's rosy by a long way, but I think
no, it's not.
I think a lot of that is down to results and just general confidence levels, and I don't think you can ever underestimate what confidence does to a team, and we are just absolutely, totally lacking any.
And we're not going to have any confidence until the season starts if we win games. So that's
I would say we all know it. We all got asked.
Do you think it's more than confidence, though, Win? If you played it in that game against West Ham and actually felt good about yourself, and then turn up the following week and be told that you're playing 5 at the back, I mean, you're not confident at all in the way forward, are you? It's like there's no fixed tactic.
No.
I'm not sure that the 5 at the back was the original plan, by the way.
If Toon Army can't play and you've got another midfielder to bring in, Ramsey drops back and Willett comes in, you don't have to change the rest of the way that you're lined up.
Well, no, I think
he plans to play. He's doing his experimentation, isn't he? He wants to be seen that he's doing something different. The point I mean is when the strength of Newcastle was the unity, the team, right the way through till the end of last season. and it's just gone completely. I think
Yeah.
he's
And I
split
don't
the
think
dressing room
you
with
can
some from the.
underestimate the Isaac effect. I just don't think you can.
No, but I think has he been
I,
told either change something to make it like he's changed his formation, hasn't he? He's changed a bit around. Has he been told to do something
I
like
don't
that?
think he's been told. I think he's just
Well, why
tried.
is he why is he changing now though?
I
He's
think
not going to change, is he?
because what he was doing wasn't working, and he could say that.
Yeah, but a manager like him would not change his tactics. Like Fergie never did he? Really, he stuck with it, didn't he? That's the kind of
A
manager he is.
manager like him, you know.
Well, I'm just
he
saying.
finally stumbled upon a formula that looked like it was working at Forest and West Ham, and then he changed it again. He changed it again to the same one we lined up and played awful at Leeds with in the second game of the season,
Okay,
fourth
you know,
game
you
of the
go back
season.
to the Leeds game. You
I
know, we
I,
didn't
I
have a
just think he
striker.
hasn't got a. I think
No.
he's lost his confidence totally, and that filters right the way
I
through
tell
the
you what
team.
did happen. You know, in the last few games, despite a slight, you know, a definite improvement, you would say, before the Palace game. I think we missed Gordon,
Oh
and
my God!
that was a
Fucking
conscious
hell.
decision not to play Gordon because he's obviously
Come
decided
on,
he was
man.
going.
Hey, man, listen. The things I'm hearing, man.
Well, I put it this way: I think
It's
if he
insane.
played Gordon on Sunday, you would have got a better shift out of him with whatever he had on his mind than you got out of some of those players.
Nobody here
I
believes
don't
that.
think. I don't think you would have.
Well, I think the one thing Gordon has never lacked is effort.
Gordon wouldn't have put it. I don't think Gordon would have went in for challenges. He would have backed out.
Gordon doesn't like effort, but he jumped ship before the ship was
Actually,
sinking.
funnily enough, the only time this season he did lack effort was against Palace at home.
Palace at home when we won.
Yeah.
Palace away, wasn't it? He did, and I think he lacked so much effort there, and he avoided so many challenges
No, it
because
was
the
the back
World
end
Cup
of the
was
season.
coming
It was
up.
Palace
That's
away, yeah.
why.
Well, he's
Why
always
Howe
been
never
lacking
played
effort,
him
man.
again?
Yeah.
What about Hopkins? Have we talked about this? I don't know. I've been on a real journey to try and get back online to talk to you boys tonight.
You look
What
like
about
you're in the
Hopkins
same
who's
room.
saying with seven games to go, that he's expecting a really strong end to the season? Let's do that. I mean, he got a free pass after that Sunderland game because effectively Hopkins had said, let's see what he does in the last 7 games. It's going to be really strong. And it wasn't. It was awful. As
Well,
Jamie pointed
that's
out,
true.
it was relegation, 1 point per game. When's that assessment coming? Have they had the bank holiday off? They'll be talking today and there's an announcement in the morning? Because the bloody should be, in my view.
Well, you think so? I mean, you really expect that? I think they've look.
I don't.
I don't know how they came to the realization, but they seem to just say, he's gonna get another season, and for whatever reason that is, I highly doubt, because of the amount of contacts that would be involved in this, I highly doubt the PIF went around and shopped for bigger and better managers, and all of a sudden nobody's found out. I highly doubt that happened because it never happens in this world, in this day and age in football, no matter how many times Mighty Wayne wants to say that people keep secrets, because they don't care. So they're not going to keep a secret if we went to get Xabi Alonso, so Newcastle fans don't. That's not happening. So maybe they trust him wholeheartedly. You can analyze that, or they didn't think that they could get anybody else.
Wholeheartedly or foolhardily?
Both, more leaning to the latter. But
well, that's in
I mean,
against it. Every time I see Jamie, I think Batman. Why is that? Bit of Val Kilmer, maybe.
I don't
I've
get
got
that
quite a nice black car, but I've had Chris O'Donnell in the past, if that's what he's getting at.
Has he played Batman? I wouldn't know.
He played Robin.
He played the one guy.
The boy wonder, the boy blunder.
And now he's gonna go.
Ow!
Alonso's interesting when trying to deviate from the main subject, but Alonso looks like he's going to Chelsea. I mean, devastating, man. It's annoying. But what can you do? If you don't go get him, you can't.
Terrible move for him.
Maybe so. But maybe he was looking for a team to a proper project. I mean,
That's not Chelsea.
Well, I mean, but maybe one of the teams out there available, So it's if you're saying that, and he may think that objectively, you're gonna tell me that Newcastle couldn't have moved his feet? Maybe not.
No.
But I'm just saying.
Not if you're up against Chelsea, you can.
Well, then, so why are we saying that Chelsea is a bad project then?
Because they're Chelsea.
That's irrelevant. You don't go out there to get to get hanged, man. You go out there because you think you're going to do something good.
You've got to think you can improve the situation, but it doesn't take a lot of improvement there. Let's be honest. In fact, it's a good project for anybody to take on, because where they've finished out of Europe, I mean, all you've got to do is get into Europe next season, and that's an improvement. So it's a very good project for somebody to take on if you're getting well paid for it, and you know you're going to have resources.
Newcastle have full-heartedly disappointed this season, so ain't no other direction but to go up.
So there you go. So why would you come? You know, if it's as bad as what you are saying it is, why would you want to come here?
Because it's bad based on managerial decisions, man, and footballing decisions as well. Footballers making decisions, but there's a lot of great footballers, and this team should be finishing again 4th, 5th, 6th, competing for those spots.
If you're a manager, you're looking at Newcastle having backed Howe for the last 5 years, and Chelsea having worked their way through 5 or 6 managers in the same period. So it's nonsense signing a bloody 6-year contract. Rosinia did that.
Well, 6-year contracts. Those are irrelevant for anybody. Not even footballers. Maybe not even footballers, because you could sell them in 6 months. But managers, they know they sign a contract so they can get guaranteed money. But other than that, they know they're gonna get sacked if they don't perform. So they know that. You know what I mean? Nobody more than Alonso knows that, because he's been a proper footballer and a proper coach. Was at Real Madrid. He knows how this world works. So he's not gonna be naive in that. And by the way, when it comes to PIF seems like they're the most patient ownership in the history of football. So, I mean, I know Jamie's been stuck on the same face mannerism since the last 10 minutes. Now he's gone. He didn't like that comment. But, I'm just saying.
So my question is, how long, if Eddie Howe has a bad transfer window, how long do you give in the season?
And that's the problem.
That's the worry.
Yeah, but
that's the problem.
Then the question is, define bad transfer window. You don't know. You don't know.
No, but if he goes on a 5 losing
streak, you don't know if it's a bad transfer window until the start. Whoever he in starts.
No, but
football.
you know the players that come in, and now listen, you're gonna be able to.
No, I am hoping that I don't know the players coming in. Don't know them that well.
We're going to know. Trust me. And here's the thing: if the players that come in are good, and he plays them out of position, then of course it's going to be his fault. If he plays them where they're supposed to, and then perform,
that makes total sense for him.
Yeah, but even if he has a good transfer window, let's say he has a good one, but he loses a lot, like 5-6 games, that's my worry. That
proves it wasn't a good one.
No, but you shouldn't have lost 5 or 6 games. That's the worry where a lot of people.
Exactly. What do you mean, man?
What I'm saying is, if he brings a load of players in and he loses the first 5 or 6 games, it proves that the wrong players have been brought in. And if that's on his
no,
toes,
not really.
No,
that's not necessarily what it means. Yeah. What about the team is shite, and they're not playing how they to the strengths of the players? That's not the players' fault.
Oh, so it'll all be down to tactics.
Well, yeah, that's my worry.
If everybody's not playing good, that's how it works.
Yeah, well, that's the common thought.
I've taught you that. I've taught you that.
If one player's having a bad game, it's the player's fault. If 11 players are having a bad game, it's the manager's fault.
Yeah, and that's what happened this season. So that's the worry. And the thing is, Eddie Howe is going to try to start in an uphill battle. No matter who he signed, no matter what the transfer window is, he's going to have to be scrutinized for it and have to deal with it, because we're probably going to spend about $200 million again. I foresee that. And so he can't just say, I can't sign Mbappe, so of course we are where we're at. No, screw that. He signed the players that you need to sign. You can't sign the best players in the world, but you can sign proper players. And no matter what happens, he's gonna go against the wind to start the season, man.
And then when he spends 250 million, let's say, that means he's had £1 billion in transfer.
Ooh, he becomes the Arteta of Newcastle United now, to spend $1 billion with no success. More than $1 billion might get you success, but so that means if we're gonna put him in the same parameters as Arteta, that means fans should expect Newcastle to win the Premier League, and we here agree that that's not the case. So,
because I had my worry when we won the Carabao Cup, we started going flat after that.
That's a fallacy. That's an absolute fallacy. After the Carabao Cup, we won 5 out of 7 league games.
oh my God, he
And
keeps.
it's a
I
cup,
swear,
it's a, everybody says it after the, we felt a bit after the Carabao Cup.
the
It's
problem
nonsense.
is when you might have a point if you actually just mention give your opinion on we played this game. Remember that game we did 4-3-3 and the team all crossed the ball and we missed so many chances, but we still won the game. It was tough. And you actually explain as opposed to just reading, oh, we won this out of that. Anybody can win
That's
games.
all that
man.
matters.
No, anybody can win games. It's about how you're doing it. That's the form.
No,
Form
no.
matters.
No,
Form
results
matters. No, form matters. That's all I'm saying, man. And
I've
look
told you
at what
millions
happened.
times, I don't-
Because you
if-
continue
if
with that
we
form,
play shit
and what happened
football
next
and
season.
win every game 1-0, I will
That ain't
be
gonna
the
happen.
happiest fan in the world.
But that's
I
not going to
think,
happen.
I think Wynn's right after the Carabao Cup, actually, because is that not the season that we've got 2 games left? We go to play away at Arsenal and actually at least match them. Should probably have won that game, but lost 1-0. And if we'd won that game, we'd have gone up to second.
But do you agree,
And
Ian?
then we're bad against Everton.
Ian,
No,
do you
well,
agree that
everybody remembers the very last game, the Everton game? That's the only one I
Ian,
remember.
do you agree that if you play crap every game, that you're going to lose most games?
It's
Yeah, but then
Yes, but the point I'm making is
No, that's the point you made.
I'm
literally.
saying if you play crap and win 1-0 every game, I'll settle for that.
But you
it-
can't.
it's-
It's impossible.
The fact is you can't do that. But if you're
It-
winning 1-0
Exactly,
every
so
game,
what's the point, man?
you're winning
Hey,
1-0 every game. You're doing that.
Right,
But
Eddie
you know-
Howe. Eddie Howe's the manager, and we've been absolutely crap this season. Yeah,
Correct.
but if that was Brucey, let's high Brucey in. How quick would we turn to ask Brucey to be sacked?
Well, it would have depend on what Brucey had done in his.
No. Let's say if
previous
Brucey
5
had the full like Eddie Howe has this whole season, where we've been absolutely awful. How long would Newcastle fans would have been shouting for his head after that Sunderland game? I think Newcastle fans would have been shouting for Brucey's head.
Correct.
Yeah, but
Because
we're still
he hasn't got 2 Champions League qualifications and a Carabao Cup behind him.
But I agree. But this season, it's unacceptable. We shouldn't
This
be.
season is unacceptable. How many times have I got to say it?
The thing is, you don't want to do nothing about it. You just want to sit there and just say that. But it's pointless. You got to actually do something about it.
You
And
can't
fans
do
need to
it.
call it out.
We,
And
no,
fans,
get it into your head. We can't do anything about it.
You're not going to tell me what I can say. I can sit here and say whatever the hell I want about whatever
But
the
you're
hell
not going
I
to
think.
change the situation.
All right, then.
So we should have just kept. So
So
fans should have shut the hell up about Ashley and just. They couldn't do anything about it, so just shut the hell up, Newcastle United fans. Sit there and just take that shit every single weekend. But they didn't. So but that's exactly what you're saying.
No,
That's
it's not
literally
what I'm
exactly what you're
saying.
saying.
It's not what I'm saying.
Fans
at
can't
all.
change nothing, so you just sit there and take whatever happens.
Ashley had a history of destroying the club. All
Yeah,
he did
but
was take
it-
money
to-
out,
to the
take
each-
money out,
to
take
their-
money out.
To the relevant places.
You can't do it. The relevant places are we've been in the Champions League twice. We just missed out on
No,
Europe
but
once. We've won a trophy
the
for the
point
first
is-
time in 70 years.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, that's very
okay.
cool. Trust me.
That's cool. That's fine. But the point here is that clearly not comparing Eddie Howe to Mike Ashley, but the point still remains.
No, but Sean's
if you
trying
don't
to
like,
compare him to.
if you don't
Steve-
like
No, no.
something, but if you don't like something, if you don't think a manager can take you any forward, then you can voice it, and you can. Of course, we don't make any decisions, but you don't get to tell me we don't get to change nothing. So shut up. That don't work like that.
I'm saying
because
it's
you could have just said that about
whinging.
Ashley.
No, but all I brought was Brucey in because we shouted for Brucey's head, didn't we? But then let's flip it. Arne Slot's getting a lot of stick off Liverpool fans. He won the league last season.
Did.
Like not this season, one before. Like if you're going to go
Yeah,
that way.
but he won the league with Klopp's team.
Yeah.
And then when he got his own players in with no restrictions at all,
But he.
they ended up a lot worse.
Mm-hmm. But that's me all I'm trying to say when I run about everybody, because Eddie Howe has a big fan base backing, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Rightly so.
if that was Brucey, like I only said Brucey because Brucey had that negative, didn't he? He had all the stick. No matter what he'd done, he got the stick, didn't he? What would have happened? You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. How long would it stuck?
But only
Like-
because from day one that Bruce took over, things got worse. They didn't get better; they got worse. So he didn't have any credit in the bank at all.
Yeah, but he's had Eddie Howe clearly has had credit in the bank, but the credit is gone now because clearly it's been draws and draws and draws. But look, it's the same thing over and over again. Jimmy, you back, man? What's up? Come on, man.
And the UFC, like myself, needs a real good seeing to. Fact.
There you go. There was an article. There was an article in. I don't know how relevant this website is, but it could be an interesting talking point. Football Ground Guide said that. Let's see here. The headline said 1 billion stall St. James's Park expansion crisis forces PAF to share sale. We talked about that, of course, but it's not being forced. It's about bringing new ownerships, I guess, to invest and I don't know, maybe if it's American because of how they build stadiums and stuff like that. But there might be some. Oh yeah, well, I think this is true actually. That if Newcastle tries to expand their stadium, there are just some severe infrastructural complications that more or less is a waste of time. So you mentioned something, Wayne, about the underground metro there. There's nothing you can do about it. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, logistically, to significantly, let's say, to add 10,000 to St. James's Park, civil engineering-wise, logistically, it's an absolute nightmare. And, of course, anything can be done, but the cost of doing it is just, like, astronomical. And when laid against what you're going to get for the money that you're shelling out. You can build a brand new stadium for less than what you can convert.
The ultimate poll needs to be like this? Do you think that most, I'm talking about all Newcastle United fans all over the world, including obviously their local fans, what do you think most fans want? A new stadium or a rebuild or whatever?
Well, as I say, utopia is a complete rebuild of St. James's on its current footprint. But without somewhere to play the matches while all of that is going on, it ain't going to happen. And you've still got the business of the light and the planning complications with Lee's Terrace right behind the East Stand. But you can swivel it and move it further towards Barrack, the seating bowl further towards Barrack Road with all the corporate stuff at the north end. But it's a complete rebuild. So, but I think it could be done without encroaching too much into Lee's Park and giving Lee's Terrace the thing. But it would need a complete rebuild. In order to do that, you then need the flat pack on the Town Moor situation for a temporary home whilst all that goes on. Because you're looking at probably from closure of St. James's Park to it being able to open again, you're probably looking at 5 years.
Yeah. Right. So I just wanted to point that out. But let's go with the comments here and see what they're saying. Daz, why don't we try getting a Mackham's manager? Imagine him with 250 million to spend. Oh, fuck. Rub it in, man. Rub it in. Jamie, you there, man?
Net spend bigger than Eddie Howe last season.
I think so. I don't have a good reception, but can you hear me?
Yeah. Loud.
We can hear you. We can see you and hear you good. But man, that was a devastating comment there, man. Get the Macca manager.
You're still never going to. There was a comment before saying it's winning Mackham and Milan. You're still not going to see a Mackham and Milan.
Well, they saw you there, so.
Milan are in the Europa League.
Yeah, they're in there exactly.
Yeah. Well, you are naked, old man.
The Europa, didn't I?
The man to Europa,
the
man.
cherry on top,
Win.
won't it?
Learn to read the room and shut up, man.
I told you I couldn't give a toss about the room.
Well, we can tell. We can tell.
That's to me. That's going to be a bigger kick in the guts than losing 2 derbies. If Sunderland,
You see,
if Sunderland,
that's a takeover fan right there. A takeover
if Sunderland want to get drawn against Milan.
Nothing wrong with takeover fans, by the way. But at least admit it. This guy, he doesn't speak like an old head, man. I'm telling you, it's incredible, man. It's incredible. A little trip to Milan or a little song, worse, or not being able to sing it, worse than losing back to the Mackhams after they've been relegated for 1,000 years.
You can say that.
Come
That's
on,
because
man.
again, where you just don't get that song.
Wait, Jamie, help me out here. Who doesn't get it?
No.
Who doesn't get it, man?
It's why it's part of such a big disappointment is because that's been sort of like potentially entirely wiped out because you've never seen a Mackham in Milan's bigger than Milan. It's the fact that they've never been anywhere. They've never been to any big team or played in Europe in anyone's memory, and they're going to next year.
The only one we've got left.
I don't know if you've spotted.
The only one we've got left, Jamie, you've got to fly from Newcastle to get the UEFA Cup.
No, but Jamie agrees with me, not with you.
If you think that's bad, though, Win, now that the Champions League teams that get knocked out don't drop into the Europa League, it's only the 5th and 6th teams in Germany and Spain that provide the opposition in the Europa League. And therefore, you've got to keep your fingers crossed that next year, Sunderland are the Nottingham Forest to Brighton's Aston Villa. Otherwise, Sunderland will have a European trophy before we have one. And if you think them playing against Milan is bad, imagine living with that. And that's on the cards.
I think you've got to look at that lineup. So you've got Milan in there. Juventus, Bayer Leverkusen, Celta Vigo from Spain. It's Sporting are in there. It's they're not set up to win that.
Gary Kilburn,
but that's a much stronger lineup for the Europa League than it was this year. Then, if all those guys are in.
Gary Kilburn, Glasner, way better manager than Howe. I don't agree with that. By the way,
and possibly Crystal Palace on that note.
I don't believe it. I don't think Glasner is a better manager than Howe. I just think that first of all, I don't want Glasner no matter what. But
I know.
No, because he's rubbish.
Glasner's got a great record.
Glasner, no. I would have Glasner over Areola.
It's like asking you to host, man. You're knackered. So it's important. We got standards over here. The thing is that Howe is just probably run his course, and unfortunately, no matter like Man City in their perspective spots, of course, not comparing Howe with Pep Guardiola, but Pep Guardiola probably said, you know what, that's it. It ran its course. It's finito, finished. So the same thing. Some things just run its course for the good or bad. Bruno just won it off Sunday, says Kenny. Oh man, that's crazy.
Coward.
He won it. Oh man. Doubling down. Steve says you want to move forward with Pope, Byrne, Willock, Ilanga, Murphy. Willock, these players are championship players, and that's where we'll end up. Man, let me ask you guys this question, and I'm gonna go with Jamie first since he's smiling on there. He's frozen forever smiling. Jamie,
he's frozen smiling.
If we play like this, like we have this season, next season. Do you think we'll be fighting relegation?
Yeah, I think that's.
Wait, why do you look happy though? That's the problem.
Oh right, yeah, poor connection. I think you know what? a couple of years ago, when Leicester won the Premier League, when they played at St James, we were talking to some Leicester fans, and they were saying the record that they had when they stayed up the previous year, and when they started really well that season, over like a 38-game period, they had a league title-winning record, and they kept that up, and they won the league. And we could do a similar thing, because I don't know, since like we beat Palace and Leeds at the turn of the year, that's got to be relegation form. I haven't worked out point for point. Win can maybe do that. I know he likes
7-7.
doing his. I know 7-7. I'm talking about like what was it in the last 19 since we beat at the turn of the year. We beat Palace, we beat Leeds, and then we all got together to see that awful 0-0 draw with Wolverhampton. And then since then, it's just been terrible.
Well, it's been relegation form without a doubt.
That's got to be like probably worse form than
you're chilling
everybody
with that.
in the league.
Yeah.
By the bottom too.
Chris Davis, a capitalist is a capitalist world, which by the way, it's only a few countries, really, most,
True.
Which pays Eddie millions a year, and when he makes decisions that are costing the team points, the fans will be pissed. There you go. It's just that simple, man. But you know, like, getting mad about Newcastle seems like sacrilege around here sometimes. Brian Penny, the credit run out in January window when he said we didn't need anyone to come in. Well, he did say that too. He also said that we don't need a striker, by the way. He said we got strikers.
The problem with the January window, which is compounded the summer
You
window,
bottled it in January, so I wouldn't be speaking too much about it.
We had so many players out injured who were on the verge.
Oh my
We kept on being told they were on the verge of coming back, so he didn't want to make the decision until it was too late.
We should win a lot more in the championship. Oh, fucking hell. You see what I'm saying?
He knew in January.
We needed a fullback. I know.
He knew in January we needed to replace Kraft and Trippier. He could have bought a right back.
Absolutely.
There you go.
He knew Target wasn't coming back.
Yeah, I agree.
He could have bought a left back.
No. Win. You know you do a lot of agreeing, but you don't say nothing, man. That's the point. Yeah. That's the issue with fans. The majority of Newcastle fans with you. You know what I mean? Because you want to milk fans, make profit off of them, sell your little jackal book, make money off of them, but you don't want to agree with their sentiments. That's the problem with you, man.
That's the way to show that there's satisfaction.
Oof.
Don't buy the book. The Geordie jackal coming out short.
Not good. Per sake, why hasn't he gone? Ginger Hoskin, Chris, can you ask when now you can see a Maccabi Milan?
Yeah, I knew what started.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard.
And you saw that, and you didn't put, and you still
you tried to avoid it.
What do you mean? I highlighted it.
But you didn't bring it. You acted like you didn't know. You acted like you didn't know about Milan being in the Europa.
What's going on here? It was me that brought it up. It would be worse them drawing Milan.
Jamie had to tell you. Jamie had to tell you that Milan were in Europa League, and you didn't have a clue about it.
Yeah, well, I didn't. No. What I'd forgotten was that Sunderland actually made the Europa League, not just the conference. That's what I'd forgotten.
Travoy Stevens, this has given us a lot to look forward to in summer under Howe. Utter garbage. Get him gone. Christina, you need to care less about the Sunderland, in my opinion.
Correct.
Tell a proper Newcastle United fan that. And I'm not saying Christina isn't, by the way. She lives life. She lives in life. She's chilling.
Steve over there, your nemesis, doesn't give a toss about the unwashed. Bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, the problem is, you wait until next season and see what happens. You wait. This is going to be insufferable, man. Lee and UFC, all I've seen for the last few days is Newcastle fans are congratulating them. Do they ever congratulate us? Oh, you talking about the Macam? Well, that's interesting, actually. You were the main one. You were coming over here to basically smiling, joyous last week when they made it to Europe. So they don't have class. That's number one. But it is. I mean, look at Jamie laughing too, man. That's the problem.
I
I
think
need to get that off.
Especially we're talking about the Maccas, and you're come on, man. You got the smile on there. Ian, come on. Take it over.
That's a good shot, though,
I was-
Jimmy. Let's be fair. That's a good shot.
Yeah, it is. It's like a
Wins
professional
into
studio
that.
shot.
You got to be careful with Win, man. He's into that
Most
stuff,
of
man.
his shots are.
You
What I was
see.
going to say was, it doesn't matter whether Eddie Howe can turn things around. In my view, I think him, his team, and the fans have all lost the belief that he's the man to lead us through it. I think, and he might be able to turn it around next year, 1 game week and everything. I think the project is going to die on its
I like
arse
that.
unless there's a new figurehead comes in and galvanizes everybody to all row in the same direction.
I tell
'Cause
you
at the
what,
minute,
though.
it's like
I think
everybody
that's
is
a fair
rowing
comment.
around in little circles.
I tell you what.
Fair comment.
I think that Eddie Howe needs a little fear of God in him. And what that means here in the South, it clearly, obviously means what it is, but it's more of he needs somebody to be above him, so he's like, somebody that's breathing in the back of his neck. I'm not 100% Hopkinson is that guy.
Well, here's the
PIF
thing.
PIF are not bothered. It seems like
On that very subject, back end of last season, he had more power, rightfully, than he will ever have again
not rightfully.
because of what he'd achieved last season. So he was untouchable. He is now more vulnerable than he's ever been since he came. So
I think he's dead in the water,
the
man.
idea
Oh,
idea
fucking
that the powers above him can't frighten him or whatever, I think that's gone. They couldn't have frightened him last year because he could have gone anywhere last year.
No, he couldn't have, man. You live in such a
Well,
delusional
we'll agree to
world,
differ,
man.
we'll agree.
Oh yeah, Real Madrid was dying to get him, man. Don't
Tony
you worry
T
about that.
saying, can you all think of one plus to
Thank you,
take
Tony.
from 25, 26?
Without the obvious ones, I know somebody was Jamie said that
Miley Lewis Hall.
Miley, Hall, and Bruno, and forget the rest. No, Chow, great buy.
I
Over
agree.
50 games this season.
Great buy.
Slot straight in, 30 million. I think Chow and Botman have performed with great credit.
Yep.
I think Barnes has shown good flashes. I agree.
Thank you,
Asula's
Tony.
exciting. Valtamara, being in the right position, has shown something.
100%.
And if we can hang on to Tino, I mean, there's a bulk of a first team there. Which
Ian,
somebody could come in with
we don't
5 or
have
6.
We had a great window. We you said Ilanga was, probably knackered, but and Wissa, he's the second striker, man. That's it. He's Colin Wilson replacement. So we had a good window. Problem is, we're not a good team, and there's a difference in that. Anyway, let's see. Comments before we go, ladies and gents. Brian Penny, when will make big money back on taxes, on taxis ferrying.
Ferrying the unwashed to the airport.
There you go. No,
You
he's
gotta
not-
fly from Newcastle.
He'll
to
be
get
happy about that, by the way. Steve, while the Halls physically went against him with Tuchel. Physicality, sorry. I was thinking more of a little
went against him with Tuchel.
A little brouhaha with.
There was also a comment earlier on about when we were talking about Hall that said Tuchel stuck with the players that he'd had all season. That Lewis Hall was only there with him for one squad get together.
Well, he didn't stick with Cole Palmer a lot, but anyway.
Or Phil Foden, didn't he?
Or Phil Foden.
Palmer missed a lot of those as well. I mean, he's picked Spence because Spence has been
something. By the way, we need to talk about this. We need to have.
And by the way, Spence is a good player.
We need to have a sole podcast on football, on just football, because something is wrong in this world where the proper footballers are being eliminated from the face of the earth, and the athletes, the Olympic athlete runners, the road runners are all making it into the team. There's something the game is going.
In Denmark.
Football is gone, man. I'm telling you, where we're just hiring people to run with no brain whatsoever, and the proper footballers are being knackered left and right. So we need to talk about that. Tony Carly, come on, what's up with y'all surnames tonight, man? Y'all killing me, man. Tony Carline, cheers, mate. On paper, wins you nothing. Not sure if anyone thinks this squad is anywhere near good enough. Preseason told you the problems we were about to see. Didn't win one preseason game. I told Tony, I've been telling them that, but they're not listening, man. I'm telling you. Father, forgive them for what they not know, man. It's just they don't get it. They didn't get it, man. Wayne, been telling you for a long time, but you're knackered. Kenny, if Barnes wants to talk to Villa, are we going to call him a rat? Well, if he's talking to him, yeah, maybe. But we didn't call Gordon a rat. So which one is it? You see what I'm saying? The agenda. But Gavin Fuller says, Chris, are we a mid-table team now until we aren't? We are a mid-table team until we aren't. Oh, yeah. Michael, $75 million for Gordon. Happy days. Right. Yeah, I'll snatch your arm for that one. Paul Sprague, not a chance. Bayern pay $80 million for Gordon. The essence of being a fan is expression, says Adrian Pickett. Exactly. But they're trying to censor us, mate. Not while I'm in charge. Win and the whole lot want us to all agree with him and, all sound like robots. It ain't going to happen, man. Freedom of expression, of speech reigns on NUFC Talk TV, no matter what the cult want to do. Christina Chris fans wanted Ashley out for years. Exactly. And they pointed out that it was their right to call him out. I don't think it worked. I agree with you. I don't think none of that works. But, regardless, they should express their feelings. Carl Hope. Not when our best players want to leave because of him. Eddie Bruce will take us down. Oh, man. Eddie, come
That's
on,
poor. That's
man.
really poor from him.
I don't think he's that bad, but I think he's getting pretty bad. No doubt about that. He's getting pretty bad. Anyways, folks.
You couldn't, just to go back on one thing you said, Chris, you couldn't really blame Barnes for exploring a move to Villa, given that they are in the Champions League again, and he probably would get first choice down the left. I wouldn't call him a rat for that. I don't think anyone's been very fair when he's been second choice all the time he's been here, behind Fancy Dan Gordon.
I absolutely agree.
I agree.
I wouldn't be calling him a rat.
No, because he's not going to refuse to play, is he?
Exactly.
Anyone who's honest would wish him luck. Say, well done, mate. You deserve it. Because we've got a team full of players who are good enough to play in the Champions League. Just not when they're playing in this team this way. They're nowhere near qualifying for it.
And
that's because the team's not playing to qualify. Now they could go and play for other teams in the Champions League and look good. If they come in, they could be pillaged.
Yeah,
they could have their heads turned easily, and we'd only have our tactics this season to blame.
Yeah, but that's how it's been, though, hasn't it? Some of the players have stepped up for big games, but when it came to small teams, they've not bothered.
No, who's that though? Only Gordon, really.
Oh, only Gordon, exactly. Only Gordon. Well, it's the truth, Win. It's the truth, man. Wake up. It's the truth. Everybody can see it. You can see it.
You know what? I'm one of Gordon's biggest fans, but this season he was fantastic in the Champions League, and he never bloody turned up in the league. Turned up against Liverpool, turned up against Arsenal, turned up against City, but you never saw him against the other teams.
This season, clear as day, you can see a footballer only wanting stats, personal things. And that's literally what Gordon was all season. Seeing after himself. That you can see it. More evident than anybody else in the history. Not even Cristiano Ronaldo. At least he can back it up with greatness. But Gordon, unbelievable. But listen, even Eddie Howe has recognized that and has literally taken action on that particular situation.
Taken action because he's not committed to the club.
No. Then why? Because he's after himself. Exactly. You can't have it both, man. You can't have it both ways. You know exactly what's happening. Anyway, listen, we got to go. But thank you very much out there. Everybody that super chatted, thank you very much. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart to keep us going. And become a member. Help the channel out. Become a member. We'll start doing things, of course. We got to do giveaways. Oh, we do got to congratulate people. We're going to be doing the prediction tournament again soon, of course. And we might look into adding a little add-ons, little things here and there for that one. But want to congratulate the winners of I got here my thing here. Win before you start, moving things around, trying to show a whole spreadsheet that people don't care to see. Let me see here. People, here are the winners of the 25-26 prediction. Actually, let me tell you what. Let me just show this one on here. The winners, let me just announce that people know already if you're in the group chats, etc. It cost these people £5 to get in. 5. They certainly make their money back and some. So let's show here on your screen. The winners of the A&T TV tournament have been, the whole pot was £190. £190. It was up for grabs this year. And here is the leaderboard, ladies and gents. Ben and Levi, Ben the father, Levi the son, with 117 points. He got £110. His investment was £5. So the ROI on that is through the roof. The return on investment, it's unbelievable. Jeffo, 103 points. Look at that. Jefferson from the 90s, Max. He couldn't have been too wrong, apparently, because he won £45 in second place. Roy Caviani, another one, is going to get £25 for this one being in third place. Andrew Barnwick, he's a happy clapper, though, so he can represent the happy clappers there, making £10 in fourth place. So he certainly doubled his investment. Elias DeBias with 94 points in fifth will get a special prize, as well as Ben, whoever Ben is. We don't know yet.
I've got both their address details. The prizes are on their way.
Will get a prize as well, and knowing when the prize will be more expensive than the third place. So fucking hell. But anyways, those are the winners. Congratulations to all of you, and stay tuned because we want this to be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. We don't make any money off of this. It really is. The whole money is divided there between everybody. So that's actually more because we got to put up prize money for the fifth and sixth place. So there you go.
Yeah.
But we do it. We do it out of the love, of course, and to have fun, to build a good banter, and that was great. So congrats to all of them. Ben and Levi, since he's in the U.S., he got his money already. But the UK folks, wait until the money hits the UK bank and then get distributed. But it'll be this week, Thursday probably, more or less, and you'll get the notification. So congratulations to all of you out there, and stay tuned because next season, bigger and better, baby. You gotta get in, and
we might be doing a World Cup one.
Oh, we do need to do a workout. Ooh, hey, that's a good one, Win. That's a good best idea of 26 already that you've come up with. So there you go. We might do a World Cup one, exactly. But we gotta do England predictions, which a lot of you will be knackered. But I guess you got no choice now but to follow England. As knackered as they are, they're probably going to be. With no Barnes. Tuchel did the same thing that Eddie Howe did with Dubravka. With Barnes. Used them when he needed them and then threw them under the bus.
Stopped them going to Scotland.
Like trash. Exactly. That is the most criminal thing in the history. And let me tell you something. The Scottish won't want him. He could have went to the World Cup. Harvey Barnes, you made a bad mistake on that. And I told you, man, you should have never trusted them English folks. They're going to stab you in the back. And that's exactly what happened. Well, no, he trusted the German managing England, which my man, what's his name now? Prime Minister. No, my guy.
Yes, Starmer.
No, not. Come on, man. Don't.
Churchill.
I'm talking about the proper one. Churchill rolling over in his grave after all he's done for the country. A German managing England, we are knackered, man. It's beyond belief. And Ian, Sean, the win, they're not bothered, about the sacrifices of the past.
Listen, I have always said an Englishman should manage the national.
Yeah, I
incredible,
agree.
man.
No. For a start, no World Cup's ever been won with a foreign manager. There you go.
That's true, by the way. That is true. Anyways, folks, thank you very much. We'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers.
We're the lad.